taking control, shoveling dirt in every hole. Predators to condemn your soul, watching you and watching me. We're all connected but separated, misunderstood and so frustrated. A million armies of one have invaded, watching you and watching me. We live behind glass curtains and act like nothing's wrong. Soon you will belong. I know you're out there somewhere. We've watched you for so long. We wait for you to fall. We'll expose you all. I know you're out there somewhere watching me. Little brother wants to make headlines, be immortalized. Everyone's got an electric eye, we're the digital spies. They've watched you for so long. I know you're out there somewhere watching me. We the people have taken over. We the people are little brother, standing by to dethrone each other, watching you and watching me. Paranoid, the lens is our weapon, desensitized in our lust for attention, democratized by our voyeur obsessions, watching you and watching me. Slaves to perfection, don't let them project you as you are. Reveal your every flaw. I know you're out there somewhere. We've watched you for so long. Wait for you to fall. We'll expose you all. I know you're out there somewhere watching me. Little brother wants to make headlines, be immortalized. Everyone's got an electric eye, we're the digital spies. They've watched you for so long. I know you're out there somewhere watching me. Stay in line, don't make a mistake. We're watching. We watched you for so long. We wait for you to fall. We will expose you all. I know you're out there somewhere watching me.
Let your experience begin right now. From high atop the mountains of British Columbia to you listening around the world, this is Spaced Out Radio. You can follow us on our website, spacedoutradio.com, on Twitter, @SpacedOutRadio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. You can follow us on Instagram, Dave Scott, SOR, or on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show.
They let us play with all our toys. They let us think that we're big boys. They let us make the louder noise, but women rule the world. They let us think we're Superman, that we're the only ones who can be strong, but we break on command, 'cause women rule the world.
Buckle up, space travelers. It's time to go for a ride as we are live on Spaced Out Radio.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And the deeper I go, the deeper I fall.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Tonight I am your host, Dave Scott. Good to have you along for the ride, as once again, thank you for listening in at spacedoutradio.com, on Spreaker, and on Revolution Radio. We are trying to hook up with Revolution Radio right now. We are having a little bit of Skype issues with them, and I don't know why. Maybe it's on their end. Let's just blame them. We welcome you to tonight's show as we broadcast out of Uncle Jimbo's cabin, way up here in the Great White North, live on this Thursday night, early Friday morning if you are on the East Coast. Here at Spaced Out Radio, we are broadcasting 3 hours a night, 7 days a week, because we want to be your official one-stop shop when it comes to the supernatural, paranormal, cryptozoological, and so much more. If you like our music, all you have to do is head to Spaced Out Radio, listen to the guitar god himself. If you're a Guns N' Roses fan, you might remember the name Ron Bumblefoot THAL, their lead guitarist. He is the official music of Spaced Out Radio. You can also check us out on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. On Instagram, I can be followed at Dave Scott, SOR. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show, and our website is spacedoutradio.com. And this time we say hello to everyone listening in on the Revolution Radio chat room on the High Plains Talk Radio Network, in the Spaced Out Radio chat room on Spreaker, along with our fans at Forest Moon Paranormal, Chronicles of the Unknown, Euphoria Chronicles, and our flagship chat room on Facebook, the SOR Space Travelers. If you haven't signed up for the SOR Space Travelers Club yet, it's time. It's only $5 a month. And with that, your name gets entered into monthly prize draws. You get access to private group interviews, access to a special section on our website, and so much more. We're going to give you a hell of a lot more than just access to our archives. Well, at spacedoutradio.com, you can go read our latest blogs. Mine is on Bigfoot. And you can check out the SOR Space Wire by our news director, Eric Markham, for your latest and weird news. Tonight's show is brought to you by Rivulet Reiki and Readings, providing healings in person or at a distance. PurplePlates.com, helping heal your body, mind, and soul. The new Agora newspaper is the official paper of this show, and if you have an iPhone, you can download from the iTunes app Spirit Storybox. It's the official ghost hunting app of SOR. Remember, if you're a listener of Revolution Radio, it is the largest non-profit online radio station going online. Do us a favor, take the time to visit freedomslips.com and donate today. There are a lot of women in the paranormal, but one thing that there isn't is a lot of all-women ghost investigation teams. Why is that? Like most fields of study and research out there, there are some who believe that there is sexism going on in the paranormal field. Usually the women are always pigeonholed as the psychic or the pagan witch of the group, and they are stereotyped that way. And it's not really as a true investigator. Well, Tonight we're showing the other side of it. You see, there's a lot more to this than what we actually think or believe. And believe me, the ladies from Paranormal Housewives will tell you, the battle of the sexes is alive and well in the field of ghosts, demons, and spirits. In this day and age, you know what? I'm going to honestly say it. It's pretty bloody stupid to think that. As a father of 2 daughters, honestly, it pisses me off to think about this. But it's out there. A couple of months ago, we had Kirsten A. Thorne on this show to discuss a blog that she had written about why experienced people were quitting the paranormal. Well, she is a part of this ghostly housewives crew, and we're glad to bring the team on. Right now we have Erin and Kimberly, minus Kirsten, who was tied up tonight. She's moving, of all things. Of all dates to move. Damn it, we got to have her move on this date. But you know what? She says we're going to be in just good hands. Erin, Kimberly, how are you?
Great, thank you.
I'm glad you ladies could
all
be with us.
All I'm thinking about is I hope Kirsten moved into a haunted house. That's all I hope for.
Well, you know what? Let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's keep it, because that's a freebie. That's a freebie for you ladies for investigation.
Totally. Yep. We could go at any time. It would be awesome.
Yep.
We're going to be joined by Jennifer. She's a part of this crew as well, and she's going to be joining us in about half an hour. So in about half an hour or so, our listeners are going to be able to hear a ringtone, and we're going to try and connect up with Jennifer, and we're going to throw her right on the fire right off the bat. So it'll be really, really cool, because she's not going to know what the hell is going on, and I always enjoy that, you know. And we're going to, you know, we'll try and play a trick on her or something. I have no idea, but...
Oh, yes, please.
Exactly.
She's our newest member, even though she's been with us, I think, like 3 or 4 years, and I still tell her that we haze her all the time, so that's totally fine.
Well, you know what? As long as there's love meant behind that statement, that's all that matters. You know.
Total love.
Yes.
Exactly. You know, it's like us men, how we punch each other in the shoulder and tell each other how fat and ugly we are. You know, that's just a synonym.
Yeah,
of
we
love.
don't do that.
Yeah,
no,
I do on this end. You know, but it's a man thing. It's a man thing.
We would never tell each other how fat and ugly we are.
Nope.
Hey, we're getting into the battle of the sexes tonight, so we might as well get it all out there and, you know, just kind of run with it as we go. So how this works is we're going to take questions from our audience, and that's usually how things go, because I'll be honest with you, our audience is so smart and so dedicated to this show that they keep me on my toes. They really do. Because
that's good.
Yeah, and they should, you know.
Yes.
And the best part about it is, you know, they call out all the BS if they feel there's BS, because they're that brilliant. And I'm very thankful that they join us on a nightly basis. Even all the way down in Australia. We're gaining listeners in Australia right now. Yeah. So it's kind of cool.
That's cool.
It's really kind of cool. Hey, let's get into the Paranormal
We're excited
Housewives.
to be here, so thank you for inviting us.
Oh, I'm glad you're here. I wanted to do, you know what, when I talked to Kirsten about this, when we did the original show with her, because she wrote an amazing article on her blog about how there's so many people quitting the paranormal because they are so sick and tired of this BS and this political stance that people are taking, where they won't share evidence, they won't allow psychics, they have to have, and this has been a pet peeve of mine, the word scientific.
Yep.
Okay? Right. You're not scientific. I'll tell you ladies right now. Nobody in the paranormal field, unless they hold a scientific degree, is scientific. You know,
and you can't really actually prove scientifically that ghosts exist.
Exactly. And when I read her article about this, I was so taken back, because I don't do a lot of paranormal on this show, or I hadn't for a long time, because I was so sick of hearing, well, we investigate ghosts. Well, where do you investigate? Well, we investigate Waverly Hills. We investigate closed prisons. Okay, well, what do you do with your evidence? Well, we collect it. Well, what do you do after you collect it? Well, we go through it. Well, what do you do when you gather it? Well, we store it. Well, what are you storing it for? You know? And I noticed on a lot of paranormal shows, not to put a lot of them down, but I noticed on a lot of paranormal shows, there was this attitude of, what do you think is better? Do you use the K2 or do you prefer the Ovilus? You know, and then Then you get that,
Right,
there's
yeah.
always some high squelch guy in there saying, well, the Ovilus sucks, and, it's better than the K2, though. Like just crap. And I didn't want that
Right.
to happen. And it kind of soured me. It really did sour me with the paranormal. And I'm not going to go off on a rant here because I could easily do
It's
that.
your show. You can do whatever you want.
Well, the whole point being is when I read Kirsten's article on quitting the paranormal, it touched me because as a relative newbie to this field, and I've only been doing this job since 2014, and in my life I've only been on 3 paranormal investigations. I found it very, very intriguing that as a newbie, what I was seeing from the outside, here we have someone who was so invested in this field that she was thinking about quitting because her friends, her colleagues had had enough with the BS that was going on in the paranormal field. So, Kimberly, I'll start with you on this. Did you read that article?
I did. I did. Kirsten she's pretty brilliant and she's pretty fearless. And I'm grateful that she puts out there what she's absolutely thinking.
Did you find, though, that it was raw emotion that she was writing about that article? Because to me, as an outsider, and I had never met her at that point, all I know is when I read the article, I knew I had to get her on the show. But did you know her on a personal basis? How much from the heart was that article?
Oh, fully from the heart. Because we all put our heart and soul into this. This is something we're so passionate about since we were, children. And now we finally have the chance, to do it in our hopefully daily lives. And so to be, a little, I don't want to say jaded or not, but you do see a lot of things and you do hear a lot from other teams and other investigators. And I felt a little sad that, maybe that she was getting to that place, but I'm glad that she said it and put it out there. And, and we all rally around each other and we're like, no, let's pick it up. We do our thing anyway. We try not to let outside influences hinder us at all. Actually, I think we're pretty good at that.
Erin, what was your reaction to when Kirsten came out with that? Because as Kimberly was just saying, it was quite an emotional piece. Like this one was from the heart. This one was affecting her, and it almost seemed like she didn't know where to turn at that point.
Yeah. So when she wrote that article, we actually had been talking about that for at least a year before she even wrote the article, because there have been some stuff in the paranormal field. We call it paradrama, and it drives us nuts with, just the TV shows and the egos and everybody's like, people name drop, which drives me nuts. And it's just, like, oh, this is our spot. You can't come to this spot. And our team tries as hard as we possibly can to stay away from the drama. One of our mottos is save the drama for your mama, not this mama. And she had been thinking about writing that article for a very long time, because the whole thing was like completely 100% true and from the heart.
And that's why I needed to bring her on the show. And what I'm very fortunate of is because I do all the booking, I do all the producing, I do everything with this show. And sometimes you learn little tidbits as you go on during the interview. And she's like, yeah, I'm part of this Paranormal Housewives. And I'm like, well, that's a great show. That's what I'm thinking. That's a good show right there because, tying into why you were here tonight. And I think we could spend an extra long time discussing this matter. But there are not a lot of true, full female paranormal groups. Erin, why did you guys get this together and how did this happen?
Okay, so back in 2000 and Yeah, this is going to be a long one. That's okay, if that's okay with you.
We got time.
So back in 2010, all of us were on separate teams. We were all on different teams. All of the teams were run by men, and most of our teams had mainly men with just a few girls. Or in the case of my team, I was only the only girl. I was the only mom, and it was really difficult to get the guys to contact me to go on investigations. And they would say, oh, well, you have a kid, you can't go. Or they would call, I would say, no, just call me and ask. And they would call me and say, hey, tomorrow we're going to Tombstone for the weekend. And I'm like, excuse me, I can't because I have a husband, I have a child, I have stuff that I have to do. So I always felt like I was being left out of stuff. And the only time I actually was able to go on investigations was when I scheduled it. And so when we came together on the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California, and when it was for another paranormal investigator's birthday, because for some reason, everybody in Southern California, when you have a birthday, you go to the Queen Mary because it's that haunted. We were all sitting at this table, and we actually, Kimberly had not joined us yet. We didn't know Kimberly. I don't think I knew you at this time, Kimberly. But it was me, Kirsten, and then our fifth member, her name's Marcia, and we were sitting at this table with our husbands, and we were all complaining about the same thing and literally, I felt at the time, before I went to this Queen Mary birthday party, I felt alone, and then I met these two other women, and I was like, this is awesome. And so Kirsten was like, hey, why don't we investigate together? And we were like, that sounds awesome. And she's like, yeah, we could be like the Paranormal Housewives. And we were like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. And at the time, we were all still on our other teams. But what we didn't realize or know at the time when we were sitting there at that table on the Queen Mary is that we were all going to get kicked off of our teams because of this one decision that we decided to investigate together.
They were going to kick you off.
For just one night. Just for one night.
Well, we all got kicked off. Yeah, we all got kicked off of our teams. Yeah, because it was, well, I know that for me personally, I'm not going to name names, but for me personally, I was told from just one member, the head guy on my team, I was told that women can't investigate on their own, that they need a man, and that we would never succeed.
Are you kidding
I was
me?
like
that bluntly?
No, I'm serious. No. I am serious. Yep. I got
I'm sorry,
kicked
but
off right
I'm
away.
sorry for cutting you off there, but
That's
it's
okay.
It's 20 at this time, what, 2010, 2011? Like, have we not come
it was 2010.
Have we not come that far to simply realize and understand that, for the most part, women are equal? I mean, there's certain things you can't do, just like there's certain things we can't do that women can do. But, I mean, what kind of crazy thought is that? Like, that just baffles me that your own teammate would say, Erin, we need to talk about this, because you don't have a penis. We don't think you should investigate on your own because, well, frankly...
And it wasn't just my team. The other two girls' teams, too. They all were on separate teams, and they all got kicked off. And we were like, well, then let's just stay with the Paranormal Housewives, keep that name, and go for it. So it was pretty much our team was formed on that Queen Mary night.
It was almost like it was a sign that you 4 or 5 ladies had to come together. I mean, to all be there at that exact moment, Kimberly, when you guys were having that conversation, let alone that you didn't know that all of you would be segregated and castigated by your own team. It was almost like fate brought you guys together.
Fate, 100% had something to do with it. I met the 3 ladies because, we all know each other. Everybody knows investigators, and investigators know investigators. It's a very small community for as many people as there are. And it was just, now this is weird, a friend and I went to stay on the Queen Mary, and we just were going to investigate all by ourselves. We had never done it before. And we were in a room and bumped into two investigators that I think both of them were on your team, Erin, at the time. I think both of them.
Yeah.
Or just one of them. I know for sure one of them was for sure your team leader. And he invited us to La Purísima, which Erin had ended up setting up.
Yeah.
But it
that
was
was
funny that we met her. Yeah, it was just odd that I met her team leader at the Queen Mary as well. Oh, that Queen Mary, that's where the fate starts. And then that's where I met Erin, was at La Purísima, and then after that, Kirsten.
Well, and that La
everybody.
Purísima trip, I set that up. Let me tell you, that was my old team. I set that up so I could go on an investigation. So see, if I hadn't have set that up, I wouldn't have met Kimberly.
No. So it was all fate for sure. We were meant to be together. It just works.
So when you ladies decided to put this team together, were you laughed at? Were you chastised? What kind of reaction were you receiving, both positive and negative? Erin, we'll start with you on that.
Okay, so the positive, I have to tell you, the females out there that were investigators, they were like, you go, girl. You go. You go and investigate and have fun and do your thing. And then the guys were like, they're never going to last. They can't do it without a guy. Now most guys did that. There were a few that were like totally on our side, but a lot of the guys were in the paranormal field were like, nope, you can't do that. You need a man to go with you to protect you. So there, we had most guys did not think that we would make it.
Yeah, I got drunken phone calls. I got mean letters from men. I got a mean letter. I got a really mean letter. They were. I mean, even it was so weird. It was the weirdest, one of the weirdest experiences I've been through. And you would think the paranormal is weird, and no, it's the investigators. Really.
Well, well, I can say this. Maybe it's the Canadian in me. But on behalf of all men, I will say I am sorry. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
And I realize I'm taking a big scope here, and for any man who disagrees with this, really go to hell and grow up. I get to say that because I have the power of the microphone. But in regards to it, I mean, like I said off the top, I'm a father of 2 daughters, and I want my daughters to be whatever they want to be. One of my daughters wants to be a fighter pilot. We all know how that is for women.
Right on.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
I hope she does it.
I'm like, go for it. Live my dream that I never got to do. I'm behind you 100%. I want them to have every door open that's possible, because they deserve it. And to hear this egocentric, and I'm not trying to be politically correct here or any crap like that, because I don't do politically correct, but this egocentric attitude that you received, Kimberly, in regards to this, like letters and emails and drunken phone calls, I hope you swore a lot at these people.
I didn't swear a lot. I have children.
It was scary. Yeah, and sometimes it was a little scary of, why are you so aggressive about this? And again, it's not everybody. We know a lot of great male investigators that are totally fine with us. And I mean, if they're worried about safety, we're worried about safety, and we're careful where we go. And there are times where we bring police officers with us, in some areas that are a little sketchy. They love it, we're just as careful, but the ghosts aren't scary. The ghosts aren't what's making us frightful. It might be the homeless guy in the corner, but it's not the spirits. But that wasn't their concern. Their concern was us actually dealing with spirits on our own. And you can do it. You can totally. We do it just fine. We are some brave girls. We're like little ninjas in there. We're good.
Right.
Definitely, if I just said that.
Right. Your little
Can you
ninjas.
edit that later?
Is that the LA/Hollywood coming out right there?
Yes.
Little female ninjas.
you
Now
know?
I'm picturing you ladies in black suits and masks that block just everything but your
I
eyes.
didn't mean that. I mean,
I
We don't wear black,
fighters
though.
are creepy, but no. There's
And we
no
don't even wear
reason.
black. Like, I
Yeah.
think we're the only paranormal team that does not wear black. Our shirts are pink, and they're like light pink.
Yeah.
Nice. I have seen the picture. I used the picture on the promotion on Facebook for that. So, yes.
Oh,
I
gosh, that's so funny.
I have a question from one of
Yeah.
the ladies in our audience. She goes by Spear Carrier. She is asking, why did those idiots think that you needed a guy so much? Was it to point and laugh at when they went themselves or something?
You know, it's funny that the men that we had started out with, they were pretty dominating guys where you weren't always even comfortable, when you're doing an EVP session to even ask a question on your own within the group. I learned really quickly how to be quiet. We're really good at being silent. It actually was a good trait we picked up, except for the fact that it was done out of fear of that. And it's a weird little power trip. I don't know if it's the lonely guy living in the basement or if it's the guy that never, had so much power. To me, it felt like power. I don't know about you, Erin. But
The 50-year-old that still lived with his mom probably had a reason to have need to be in power. And so when we decided to go off on our own, he was like, wait a second, I'm not in power anymore. You can't do this. And so it just,
I had my little harem and my little group and
Right.
And
That's
he no longer
ridiculous.
had that power.
And you know
Well,
what?
he built strong women, didn't even realize it. Yeah.
Well, and there's
we
so
started
much
out
of that.
strong, but yeah.
And there's so much of that out there, ladies, that really all of your team really had to build a real tough exterior. Probably at some point bringing out things inside yourself going into the field that you probably didn't even know that you had in you. I know when I went on my first investigation, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know where I was going or where I was supposed to stand or what I was supposed to ask, and I felt inferior to the people who were around. Now, I could just imagine, without trying to say that, I feel sorry for you, because I don't, but, I could just imagine what that was like for you when you decided to step out on your own. You're having all of this harassment going on, and Erin, you had to come together as a team quick if you wanted to make this work.
Yes, and one of our things that when we came together, one of our things was we want to help new people, because there aren't a lot of teams out there that will take a new person that's never done this before and teach them how to do it. So one of our things was we want new people to come with us as often as we can, and we want to teach them the correct way to investigate and to let their voice be heard and to not be scared about this stuff, because 99.9% of the time it's not scary.
Yeah, it's unless you're in, like Waverly Hills or somewhere where it's eerie, scary.
Right.
But and believe it or not, the men that we investigated with, they were really good at their job. We learned a lot. Unfortunately, the fear factor was there a little bit. So when we stepped out, we were ready. And we were ready to go. And and Erin has always been an advocate for the new person too, which has always been really beautiful about her. So I love that about you, Erin.
And you had the experience of being paranormal investigators, so it was second hat going into these investigations, but it was just a different feeling because now it was
totally
a bunch. Well, explain that feeling then, because I'm going to be honest with you, as a man, I don't understand it.
It was thrilling.
It's warm.
Releasing.
Well, yeah, and it's warm and fuzzy. Like when we investigate, we come across to everyone, not just the living, but the spirits as well. as motherly figures, as women, as, hey, we're here to be your friend, we want to talk to you, rather than, I know some of there's shows out there and some investigators, they like to provoke, and that's one thing we do not do. We do not provoke at all, because, I mean, they're just people like you and I, and I mean, if somebody provoked me, I would tell them to go pound sand, and I wouldn't, talk to them at all. So we come from, it's more nurturing, it's more warm and friendly.
Yeah, the men have the big booming voices when they enter a room. They can be, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be generalizing at all. I'm really sorry about that. They can be very aggressive and demanding during sessions. But like I said, we've got a couple of male investigators that are really good at inviting spirits and wanting to, not be nurturing, because that's not very manly to say to a man, you're very nurturing to the spirits tonight. But yeah, Erin's right. It's completely different. It's great. I love what we do, and everybody does it differently, and that's fine. This is our style.
Yep.
Joe is asking in the SOR Space Travelers Club, do you have to be married to be a part of your group?
You don't even have to have kids.
Nope. You don't.
I have a cat. You lucky me. I've never been married and I never had kids. I didn't mean lucky me that I didn't have kids and never been married, but lucky me that the housewife still embraced me without that criteria.
Yeah, we have 3 married, 2 non-married. 4 of us have kids. 1 of us doesn't. It's just, it's all how it really is. I don't even know how we chose everybody. That's the thing. It's like it just came. It just happened.
Yeah, it did.
It's just it feels right. Yeah.
I remember the day that they asked me to be a part of the team. We had taken a trip out to Armagosa, and we were sitting outside of what was called, I think, the Opera House or something. And the girls gathered around and said, hey, we'd really like for you to be part of the team. And I melted. I just thought it was wonderful. It's a day I'll never forget. It's just great to be a part of something so pure and nice and genuine. Yeah, it's great.
What happens if one of the men in your lives wants to come with you, ladies?
A lot of times they can come. It depends on where we're going. There are some places, like we went to on an investigation last weekend, and it was just the housewives that went because there was a certain number of people that could go. But sometimes, like Kirsten's husband, Ty, he comes along a lot because he's our videographer usually. He brings his video cameras and does some cool stuff with the video cameras and stuff. But sometimes my husband goes. He's not too into the whole investigating part. He likes to get into like the abandoned buildings part. So if we're ever granted permission to go into some abandoned building, then he's all for that and definitely wants to go. But otherwise, most of the time for my husband, he stays home and watches the kids. I love him for that.
But it also says, too, that it's great that they support you in that level, because so many times and I look at my wife and I think, man, she sacrifices every day for me to do this show, every evening, 5 nights a week for me to do this show. And, at times I feel guilty about that because I enter my studio at about 7:50. I get out of my studio at about, on an early night, it'll be about 12:10, 12:15 Pacific time. And I go upstairs and she's already, sawing logs, so it really, when you have someone who has your back, male or female, it doesn't matter. But when you have that person who believes in what you are doing for yourself and sees that you're enjoying the whole experience, that has to, and not just for the Paranormal Housewives, but for everybody, that has to be a big support and a big weight off your shoulders, because for most women, I look at my wife, we had a boy 3 years ago. She battled a couple of years with postpartum depression, and then we made a major move up north, and she battled depression again. And, part of that was she always felt she never did anything for herself. And,
right.
You sit there and you're like, man, I really need to step up here as the hubby to try and take some of that pressure off. But how can I when I work my daytime job? I say hi for 2 hours, and then I come into my studio for my nighttime job. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Right, yeah.
So to have that support behind you, that has to make your jobs and your lives in your investigation a hell of a lot easier.
It makes it a ton easier, and all of our husbands are actually so supportive. I don't think we've ever had a time where they haven't been supportive. And Jen, once she comes on, her boyfriend is actually on another investigation team, so he's completely supportive. And it's just it helps because when I remember when I first told my husband what I did, what I could do, because I am sensitive. And this was way back when we first met, 20 plus years ago. And I told him what I did, and I was freaked out that he was going to leave because, being a sensitive and being able to pick up on spirits and stuff is not your normal girl that you date. But I told him, and he was totally okay with it. He definitely was a skeptic at the beginning, but he has since had lots of different things happen that he just can't explain. So he's a believer now, but at the beginning he was a skeptic, but he still was okay with what I did, which was nice.
Let's try and bring Jennifer in now, so you might hear some ringing as we try and bring her in. It all depends on what Skype is going to do tonight. You never know. There's the ringing. She'll answer. Hopefully. Now we all wait patiently, eagerly. We're playing with our fingers, trying to figure out, is Jennifer going to answer or not? What's behind
Pick up,
number
Jen.
3?
Pick up.
Pick up, Jen. Come on, Jen.
Pick up. Come on, Jen. You got this, girl. You got
Apparently
this, girl.
she doesn't.
Jen.
She's probably like, what is this strange phone number calling
She's
me
like,
right
it's
now?
Las Vegas number popped up for me. So I thought, I hope this is the right person.
Hi, this is Jennifer. I'm away from my desk.
Well, apparently she's away from her desk. Maybe one of you
Her
two
desk?
could
I'll text her right now.
You
How about
send her a
that?
text message, and you
Yeah,
tell
I'm
her,
gonna
hey,
text
man,
her.
we're trying to get a hold of you here. Hey, while we're at it, Erin, was that you who said that you have the psychic ability?
Yes.
Okay, I have a question from Claudia that maybe if Kimberly, you can text Jennifer and tell her to get her butt on here.
Oh, sure.
I'll ask you this question, Erin. This comes from Claudia in the SOR, Space Travelers. And she's asking, could it be because women are naturally more psychic and the other investigators feel threatened by that? Being psychic is very helpful for being at the right place at the right time. So glad you are all working together. This is awesome.
Well, thanks, Claudia. I do feel that being a woman helps with my sensitivity towards being able to see and feel spirits. I don't know how guys feel because I'm not a guy, but I know that for me, because I'm so in tune to when you're a woman, you get in tune to your kids and how your kids are feeling and your husband and how he's feeling and how everybody's feeling. And our job as nurturers is to make sure everybody is, okay and doing what they need to do. And I think that that has helped a lot with my sensitivity because for me, spirits feel the same way as humans feel. So if I feel a spirit, it feels to me like a human. I just can't see it. So I think that being a woman definitely plays a part in that for sure.
What do you think about the idea then, Erin, that a lot of people out there do not believe that a psychic should have anything to do with any type of paranormal investigation?
Well, I think that's silly, first of all, because psychics are, they have their things, and they have their things just like everybody else has their things. In the paranormal field, everybody believes something different. One investigator could totally believe that all orbs that are in pictures are spirits, whereas another one thinks that they're just dust or water molecules. Whereas some person, believes that the K2 is the be-all to end-all, whereas the other person is just, relies on their psychic ability. for me, everybody is right because everybody is their own person. So if you feel that you're psychic and can sense the spirits and you are getting stuff, go for it, is what I say. And the cool part about having a psychic or a sensitive or a medium on our investigation team, or even with us just investigating, even if they're not on our team, is that a lot of times they pick up stuff, and we pick up stuff, or I pick up stuff, and we'll write it down, and we'll come together later, and we'll be like, whoa, we thought the same thing. So it's like validation of stuff, and, validation of even maybe we got a voice on the EVP, and that voice said some name that psychic wrote down, 20 minutes before it even happened. So I think that using the equipment and using a psychic or sensitive, it all works together, and I love it. I'm glad we do all of it.
Now, for those groups who do use people of psychic ability, there is the debate whether or not they should know anything about the investigative site before going in. What is your opinion on that? Do you like to know a little bit about what's going on, or do you like to go in strictly cold?
Well, here's the thing. The reason why people don't want to know stuff about the place is so that when they get these visions or thoughts or something, that they know that that's like a pure thought and not something that's been implanted in their brain. For me, I usually don't, I usually know where I'm going, but I usually don't like to know the history of the place, so I won't look into the history. I might know, like, people that live there, just surface stuff, but I won't necessarily know the deep, back history of the stuff that has happened in the house. And that's just because I want to make sure that what I'm getting is not something I've read.
Kimberly, do we have any luck on the Jennifer front? Has she responded to your text message?
No, she has not. Sorry. MIA.
Wow. Standing us up.
I know.
The diva.
Okay, wait, I just got a text. She says, I'm home now. Have him call me.
All right.
Okay.
Let's try this again. Let's see if we can get this phone call in here.
She's finally at her desk.
She's at her desk. Jennifer is at her desk. Let's see if we can get her hooked up here. All right. Can we tell her we've been harassing her a lot?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. So, Jennifer, what does it feel like to be the weak one of the group?
Hello.
Jennifer, David, Spaced Out Radio. We are live on the air with Erin and Kimberly. We were just talking about you on the air.
Oh. Hi. I know those girls.
And we were wondering, because they said something ominous, what does it feel like to be the weaker one of the group? No, I'm kidding.
The weaker one.
I'm kidding. So we're just saying that to give you a little bit of a hard time for having to come on late and everything like that. So there, your initiation is done.
I can't imagine them doing that, Just can't imagine.
We're on our best behavior.
Absolutely. So, Jennifer, just to catch you up, we're talking a little bit about the whole psychic part of having an intuitive as part of a paranormal team, because there's a lot of teams out there who don't feel that a psychic should be a part of the group because they're so damn scientific. And if you saw me right now, I actually have my fingers quoting scientific,
Right.
What do you think, Jennifer, as we bring you in here, and we'll throw you right to the coals here, about having an intuitive as part of the team? Is it important? Is it a tool? Or is it just another person who is there?
No, I think it's really important because, I think a lot of it is what you feel. It's a personal experience. It's your thoughts. It's, and so I think that's where a psychic comes in. So I think it's really important as part of the process. I don't think it should be all scientific.
I'm not a big believer in the S word when it comes to any of this, just so you know, Jennifer. I rant about it. I'm sure my listeners, And they'll all say, no, you're doing fine. But I'm sure they're absolutely going to roll their eyes the minute I say, I hate the scientist part in this, because you're not a scientist, But
right. We're not actually conducting experiments, so I wouldn't really call it a science. I think actually a lot of people try to do that, and that's just my personal opinion. I think that we're just investigating and we're trying to figure out what's going on the other side. But I don't think it's a full science. That's just my thoughts.
I agree, and
and other teams do things. Teams do things their own way, and having a sensitive on the team suits us. We use them as like you said, as a tool. They're equipment, really. But we are able to usually back up what they are doing, either on our EVPs or in our video. We don't. Jen, what did you say about using the S word? Not doing
the S word.
I love it. If we have a chance to go into locations more than once, then we can start running.
Doing experimental stuff.
Experiments and tests. But the majority of the time, you're really only in the place for the very first time if you're ever lucky to go back again.
Right,
so
and I have
the experimental
to say,
part is hard.
The more that you do this, the more sensitive you become, because the girls on the team, there's several of them that have become more sensitive the more we do this. So you can't really stop that sensitivity, that psychicness from coming in if you do it a lot.
Got another question from Claudia in the SOR Space Travelers Club. She is asking, since you have to be extremely sensitive to feel the spirit's presence, she's wondering if your team can pick up on each other psychically, and do you have that synchronistic events happen between the team? For instance, one was thinking, call me, and the phone rings, or at a paranormal investigation, all of you talk to each other without talking.
Yes. So can I tell a story here of something that happened between Kirsten
Please.
and I? So Kirsten, I don't know, was it last winter, she owns a cabin, and her cabin got broken into. And so she had asked me to see if I could pick up anything on the cabin, just from my house, just think about it, see if I could pick up anything. So I actually picked up, I sat up in my bed one night, and I think she asked me like at 8:30, and I was sitting there, and I started writing some stuff. I was thinking about her cabin and stuff and picking up some stuff, and I wrote, a pretty long piece and emailed it to her. And I said, here's what I got. And she called me the next morning. I was driving my kids to school, and she said, did you read what I wrote on my blog before, or on the email, or on the blog maybe, before you wrote this? And I was like, no, I didn't even know you wrote anything on the blog. And it was the freakiest thing, because probably 80% of what I picked up, she picked up. And we weren't in the same room. All she asked me to do was see if I could pick up anything from the person that broke into her cabin. It was the coolest thing. And I think she even wrote about it on her blog. And I think it's on the Paranormal Housewives blog too.
That is very intriguing indeed. So, Jennifer, being the new one in this conversation, then I'm going to get your opinion on this. Do you ever pick up what the other ladies are picking up, whether you're in investigation or because your team is so tight that you can actually read off of one another?
I think absolutely. When we're all in the same room, we can pick all that stuff up. Not when I'm separated, at least I don't think. But, when we're in the same room and we've all been there for a while, we definitely start to sync up, and we'll start to get the same feelings and thoughts, and sometimes we'll get the same name. And so it's pretty interesting. And,
I'm the least sensitive of all of them. I really I just don't. I don't know what it is. And it's fine with me. It's not something that's ever really happens with me, but it sure as hell is fun to watch. But it's also it's good because they're not really leading us in investigations. Like if we're somewhere, they're not leading the EVP sessions. Really, it's pretty fascinating how you can actually make the two worlds meet, because I am the one with the camera. I am the one that mostly is that's my part of my life, and what I like about investigating is with the camera and with the we go old school most of the time. We're recorders and video cameras and such.
Well, and I love that that's what Kimberly does. Like I love that she adds that to the team.
We balance each other for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty great to watch the ladies work that way. Although we all do the same job too. We all have recorders and we all use equipment. They just have a nice little added benefit.
Sometimes, Kimberly, you come up with names and stuff too. Don't sell yourself
so rare
short.
though. But I do touch. You have to trust your instincts though. You know that little prickle in the back of your head, or when your hair stands up.
Yep.
That's always, those are the signs that I get that I love. But we have a beautiful balance.
You know what's interesting?
We really do.
You know what I've noticed is that whenever Kimberly is on an investigation, it always seems like activity happens. I don't know what it is. I haven't told you that, Kimberly, but it's true. It seems
they're trying so hard to reach me, and I've got.
I know, and you're like, I don't feel anything.
Oh, go on.
It seems like whenever she's been there, there's been just the really neat things, really exciting stuff, and so you must bring in something, even though
I must. Yeah, I drag them along with
sensitive. Me. You do. You drag them, and I love that. I love it.
I carry them in my purse, and I extract little ghosties all over the place for you guys to
play.
All right. Have any of you ever been caught putting lipstick on at an investigation?
Yes.
I don't know that we wear
caught. we just do it.
I mean that with a little bit of humorous sarcasm.
I love it. It's great.
We always find ourselves in the bathroom where it's most haunted.
Always.
And we are, yes, the bathrooms always are haunted, and that's where we reapply the lipstick, right?
Yes.
Right, girls?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, as long as you
we
tease
go
your
there
hair
in
while
groups
you're
anyway,
there, too.
So. Yes.
I'm getting asked in the chat
One
room.
of us goes into the restroom and comes back out. We got to go into the bathroom. It's totally haunted.
I'm getting asked in the chat room
yes.
right now, what the hell kind of sexist question is that?
Yay, someone's sticking up for us.
Yes, I'm getting beat up.
True, I like lipstick, and I do have to reapply it.
Yes.
Len has a question for you in the Spaced Out Radio chat room on Spreaker. He is asking, have any of you ever been caught wearing clothes that you probably shouldn't be at an investigation? Like maybe you're dolled up and you're meeting the team. Like, has it happened?
Well, we don't really dress like if somebody saw how we dressed, it's not that exciting. I mean, after all, Erin wears a fanny pack, so if that tells
I
you
wear
anything,
a fanny pack.
Right. Yeah. You just outed her. That's so awesome.
That's okay. That's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
I love my fanny pack.
No, we don't wear like high heels and skirts and all that stuff. We're pretty basic, and we wear. I know that doesn't sound sexy and exciting, so I'm very sorry to all of
it's not.
I know
like
that.
To hear that.
I mean.
Yeah.
I'm a little scared now that somebody is wearing a fanny pack.
Right.
Hey,
and we all see.
No, it holds
It's
my
awesome.
equipment. It has Tinkerbell on it, and it's sparkly, so it's awesome.
Yeah, it's.
But you have to wear clothes.
If I would have known that Erin was wearing a fanny pack,
you never know what you're going to
investigations-
crawl into. Yeah,
If I would have known that Erin was wearing a
from the
fanny
80s,
pack
right?
during investigations, I'm not sure I'd be doing this show right now. Because I'm such a fashionista here.
Sorry.
Here I am in
so
my.
convenient.
Here
It's
I
so
am in
convenient.
my stained sweatpants and my T-shirt. Looking like I
I'm
just
trying to
crawled
bring
under
the
a
fanny
car.
pack back. It's so convenient. I'm telling you, everybody out there in Radioland, get a fanny pack. It's so convenient.
I will when I'm 80.
Free. Everything that is at your fingertips. It's amazing.
Although I know we have been out before, and we're like, Erin, can you hold this? And she'll stick it in her fanny pack.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you, Mama
it is
Kangaroo.
wonderful.
So
We just pretend we don't know her.
why not a backpack?
Right, yeah.
Why not a backpack?
Because it's on your back.
Okay, so can I actually have severe scoliosis. And so I don't wear a lot of things on my back, but if it's around my hips, it's better. So I don't wear
I just
a
put
backpack.
everything in my purse. I have like a half purse, half ghost pack. So,
I
we're
have
dealing,
cargo pants.
We sound so sexy.
I know, tell me.
No, we are not sexy.
I'm glad we've gone all cosmopolitan here.
Right. So I have my purse, so it's kind of a mix between my wallet, a flashlight, lipstick, and an EMF. So it's like everything. It's a mess. It's just one big mess.
Yeah.
We have about 30 seconds here before we're going to take our first break of the night. I'm so glad that you ladies are here. I really am.
Thanks.
Oh, great.
I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah, we are too, for sure.
I'm glad because I was so excited about doing this show when Kirsten and I first talked about it that I'm just sad that she's not here. That kind of bugs me. But
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I know, but it gives us a reason to do it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
We'll
there's
just
the
have to
music.
haze her with one of our investigations.
Ladies, I'm going to get you to hold on. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio. The Paranormal Housewives of California are our guest. We'll be right back right after this.
Looking for news beyond the mainstream news? Head to spacedoutradio.com and check out the SOR Spacewire. This is Spaced Out Radio's Eric Markham, news director for the SOR Spacewire. Daily, I will bring you intriguing stories and outlandish reports from what's going on around the world. UFO sightings, paranormal activity, conspiracies, alternative health, and so much more. And if you have news, email me at news@spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski, lead investigator with U4Cop. On the final Monday of every month, you can listen to me and host Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio's Strange Days. We're going to get to the heart of the matter when it comes to what's happening out there. People are seeing and experiencing things from ET contact to Bigfoot, and I want to hear about it. Your experiences are what we investigators need to help solve these unknown mysteries, so tune in at spacedoutradio.com.
Greetings and salutations, space travelers, from the Chronicles of the Unknown team.
What is Chronicles of the Unknown? I keep hearing about this thing.
It's a new paranormal reality TV show based right here in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Follow our team as we uncover claims of activity on the Caribou Gold Rush Trail. You can also follow us here every third Monday, where 2 members of our team will be available to answer your questions.
Have you ever wondered about those weird and strange creatures people have reported throughout history? Do you wonder if those stories are real? Me too, and that's why I started Cryptopia.us. Hey, this is Rob Morphy, crypto historian. Join me once a month on Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott, where we will get into the odd and bizarre reports, from the Dover Demon to hairy hominids and everything in between. I will break down what people like you and me are seeing at spacedoutradio.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
Strange creatures lurking in the night, the sounds of wood knocking in the forest, odd happenings right out of a fictional world. These are the reports I love. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy. And I would love it if you join me and Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month on our journey into the unknown land of cryptozoology at spacedoutradio.com. From Mothman to Frogman and everything in between. Hey, they don't call me the crypto guru for nothing.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
From British Columbia to Northern California, Pacific North Weird has Cascadia covered. Check out our feature videos at spacedoutradio.com, where I, Vincent Zunza, and my super sleuth partner Alexandra Sullivan track down the weird and strange stories from around the Pacific Northwest. From Bigfoot to Mel's Hole and everything in between. This is what makes life exciting. So why report the normal when we can report the Pacific North Weird right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Oh, there's only one way to rock. Loud and proud. In high definition. Radio 702 rocks. Las Vegas.
Have you ever had an extraterrestrial experience? One you just couldn't explain? Well, maybe I can help. Hello, I am Samantha Mullet. On the second Tuesday of each month, I will join Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio to bring a human aspect to ET contact. It's something I've lived with my entire life, and I'd love to help you understand. Let's share our experiences. The ET Experience, the second Tuesday of each month, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Hi there, this is Jolene with Reveal Reiki and Readings, and I want you to relax. Let me help you chill out and get in touch with your body, mind, and soul. In this busy world, sometimes we need to let go, and this is where I can help. Visit my website, rivuletrr.wix.com/rivuletrr&r.
Every Saturday and Sunday night, as Dave Scott wanders aimlessly in the wilderness, you can come hang out with me, James Tyson, in Spaced Out Weekend. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, I'll take you along as we talk with some of the best experts in their fields. SpacedOutRadio.com is the place to find us. So sit down, relax, put your feet up. Enjoy the topics like the paranormal, supernatural, intuitiveness, and so much more. Hope to see you there.
Hi there, this is your psychic medium, Joanna, and I would love it if you would join us every other Sunday on Spaced Out Weekend. With host James Tyson, we'll bring you personal psychic messages on two mediums and a large. Questions about love, life, career changes. We would love it if you would come and join us live. Call in and listen in for the experience. Allow us to open the doors to your other side. Two mediums and a large, heard only on Spaced Out Weekend at spacedoutradio.com.
Would you like to become one of our space travelers? All you have to do is click on the Space Travelers icon at spacedoutradio.com. For only $5 a month, you can get access to some great prizes, as well as private monthly shows, newsletters, and a members-only section on our website. Become a space traveler today.
Do you have a topic or a guest that you'd like to hear on Spaced Out Radio? Let us know at spacedoutradio.com, where you can sign up to become a Space Traveler member today. Or you can find us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on our Facebook page, Spaced Out Radio Show. Welcome back for hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Tomorrow night on the show, Sheila Renee Parker, author in the paranormal, will join us as we round out the week talking ghosts, ghouls, goblins, and a heck of a lot more. That starts at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time at spacedoutradio.com. If you want to join the SOR Space Travelers Club, all you have to do is go to our website, spacedoutradio.com. It's $5 a month. With that, your name gets put into monthly prize draws. You get access to private group interviews, access to a special section for your postings on our website, and so much more. While you're on our website, you can also read up on our latest blogs. Mine is on Bigfoot. And you know I like the big hairy beast, Bigfoot. Just love that creature. And you could read up with our other talented writers as well. And the SOR Spacewire by our news director, Eric Markham, has some great pieces. He's just posting one for tomorrow on the sighting of the thylacine in Australia. That's supposed to be extinct since 1936, and there's a video of one. So hopefully that creature isn't extinct any longer. Hopefully. Anyhow, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at Spaced Out Radio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. On Instagram, I can be followed at Dave Scott, SOR. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show, for our archives, and our website is spacedoutradio.com. Remember, if you are listening in on Revolution Radio, the Double R Machine is a donation station financed by you, the valued listener. Do us a favor and donate today. Tonight we are talking with the Paranormal Housewives. They are Erin, Kimberly, Jennifer. There's a couple missing, including Kirsten, who was on this show a couple of months back, talking about quitting the paranormal. We bring the ladies back on. Welcome back.
Hi.
Thank you.
She was going to quit the paranormal? What?
Well, she wrote a blog about quitting the paranormal. And that's why I brought
Remember her blog post, Jen? Did you not read it?
Yeah. No, I read it. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Well,
I'm kind of a bratty paranormal housewife.
I'm learning this very quickly. Before the break, you ladies mentioned that you find washrooms to be extremely haunted. So Spear in the SOR Spaced Out Radio chat room on Spreaker is asking, and I'll start with you, Erin, on this. Why do you think bathrooms are so haunted?
You know, I have no idea. We literally, I think we ask ourselves that question every time we go to a haunted location.
Mm-hmm.
We always find stuff in the bathroom. Maybe it has to do
We always
with...
get EVPs. We get the chills.
Yeah.
It seems every single time, no matter where we are
maybe it has to
usually
do
creeped out
with...
by it.
Yeah, maybe it has to do with the water, or maybe it has to do with the pipes. We have no idea. All we know is that we get a lot of stuff in bathrooms.
And one of my thoughts about that too is it's an enclosed space. You know, you're not in a big vast room trying to contact somebody. So I don't know if the fact that it's in more of an enclosed space, if that has anything to do with it. And also, you know, there's always all these theories about sometimes spirits want to hide. You know, they'll say, oh, if a house isn't haunted, the basement is, or the attic is. And this could be one of the locations that maybe spirits go to get away from us annoying investigators. I don't know. Those were just some thoughts that I had on it as well.
Yeah.
Kimberly, we'll start with you. What's the weirdest paranormal experience you've ever had?
Why did you ask that? Not...
Well,
not
I am
weird.
kind of a show host, you know.
Weird. I can't say that it had anything weird. I have been. I think the most monumental thing, other than when you get the Holy Grail of hopefully being able to see a full-bodied apparition, or at least part of their body, like the legs. Is I've been scratched in my back once at a certain location. You know, it felt like there was, I would think what jellyfish feel like when they sting you. And we lifted up the back of my shirt, and I had 3 nice long marks on the back. And we didn't run and hide. We addressed it. And in my thought on that too was that not that they were being malicious or anything. I sometimes think that it's a little hard for them to reach us, and they try very hard to reach us, you know, to puncture whatever is standing in between our world and their world. And I think this spirit might have tried a little too hard, and you know, maybe accidentally did something. But to me, that was the most. I still love that moment. It hurt, but I loved it. You know.
Probably the weirdest experience that I had was on my first ever investigation that I did. There's a haunted museum by my house, and a team from Chronicles of the Unknown, a Canadian team up here, were up here investigating it, and we were about 2/3 of the way down this old horse barn, this old Clydesdale horse barn. And, you know, we heard in other buildings, we heard, you know, the thumps, the bumps, and everything that kind of goes with it. You know, you see the odd shadow person or something shadowy move out of the corner of your eye. But we were about 2/3 of the way down this barn. Oh, feedback, sorry. And while we were there, the team is filming and they're doing their thing, and I'm kind of an observer behind the scenes, just kind of watching what they're doing because I've never seen what they were doing before. And you know, you get that feeling that you just got to look someplace. Yeah. Well, that's what happened with me. And so I looked back down where we came from to the entrance of the barn. And standing with us, there was the team of 4. There was myself and then Ken, the curator of the museum, who was with us, the only one who had keys. And right at the base of the barn, at the beginning of the barn, where we would have came in, I swear there was this gentleman who was kind of leaning down, looking down the hall to see if any of us were looking. And it was like all of a sudden he knew that I was looking at him, and he pulled back up and disappeared. So after they had finished filming, I said, hey guys, we got to head back down that way. I just saw a full body apparition of a guy looking at us, and he pulled into the wall. Well, we get back down to the barn, and you got to realize, you know, and you know, you've been on enough investigations to know that the lights are off. This is dark. Mm-hmm. And we get back down, and we come to this storage room right at the beginning of the barn, and there's a light on. And we're like, well, who turned that light on? You know, where's the light switch? And Ken, the curator, had to unlock the padlock, and you know, which made a heck of a lot of noise. He had to unlock the padlock, take the padlock off, and then he had to walk inside this room because there's only one door in and one door out, and he had to go to the far wall to turn the light switch off. And that was probably one of the real excellent adventures that I have had since I've been in this field. In seeing that happen, it's like, what the heck turned that light on? And I know it was this guy. And the funny part about it is, my neighbor Tony, who's a big fan of this show, I'm not sure if he's listening in or he's sleeping right now, but usually he's listening in at night. So Tony, if you're awake, hi, how are you? He sends me this picture. Hi, Tony. He sends me this picture right before this show, which is totally ironic. He sends me this picture of this guy that was caught in the barn. And
no way.
So he's like, yeah, my wife has this picture, and the guy who took the photograph swears there was no one standing there. I'm like, yeah, I've seen that dude before.
That's cool.
It was kind of cool, yeah. It was a nice confirmation.
Yeah.
I have a question.
You know, if I can...
Yeah, go ahead.
If I can share real fast, there's something about seeing a full body apparition is that sometimes you don't even realize that that's what you're looking at, because we've done an investigation before where I thought that we had an extra member in the team because we were actually meeting teams that we had never met before, and to turn out I had miscounted by one person who was leading the team down the hall in a very happy way, but his clothes were a little odd. Mm-hmm. And I hate it that sometimes my brain isn't fast enough to go, no, that's a ghost. That's not a real human. Because then you would be like, hi, hello, my name is Kimberly. Nice to meet you. And instead it's, where did that guy go that was wearing the suspenders and the sweater and the funny shoes? You know? You're like, oh, darn it.
Jennifer, what's your weirdest story?
I have a few of them. Let's see. Of course, I always have weird stories. Let's see. Well, I mean, we have a similar scratch story where we were at a playhouse. Remember, Erin? Miss Erin? So we were down in the sewing room of this theater, and just all of a sudden I got so sick. I mean, to the point where I was looking all around me to find a trash can. And I didn't want to tell anybody that I was so sick. I didn't want the theater people or the girls to know. And I didn't want to ruin the floor by vomiting. So it was pitch black, and I was like, oh my God, I got to find something to throw up in because I'm so sick. And finally Erin stands up and she's like, I just got scratched. And we all turned on the lights and looked. And when I came out of the room, I mean, right, Erin? I looked like I was all green and
you
and
look
it
like
completely.
Yeah.
I looked like death. And the minute I left, I was fine. But it was, I mean, that was kind of a strange experience. And, of course, my big strange experience or weird experience, I don't even know what kind of experience you would classify it as, but I was in France, and I was in bed, and I had actually hands, and I mean, you know when your eyes have adjusted to the dark, so I could see, even though it was dark, that nobody was there, and I had hands climb up my whole body all the way up to my neck. And so that was pretty crazy. And I know nobody was there. It wasn't an animal.
It's those handsy Frenchmen. You know.
Yes, it was a very flirtatious spirit, and it scared me. I will say.
Let's go to a question from Claudia in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Claudia is asking, and Erin, we'll start with you on this one. It seems your team was brought together from a higher source. Does the team feel that they may have being mother, daughter, or sisters possibly in another life to bring you all together again this time around?
So I completely believe that we've lived before. I believe I've been lots of other people in lots of other lifetimes, and I do know that a couple of the other housewives think so too.
Yes,
and
I think Erin and I were married.
Well, Jen and I are really close. I actually was the one that kind of brought her into this whole thing. I actually met Jen on Craigslist, and I call her my Craigslist friend, which she hates.
God.
But I didn't
feel bad.
Because
what do they call
funny.
those secret encounters or something? I don't.
So, well, I had actually answered a job ad on Craigslist, and I met Jen, and from the minute I met Jen, it was like we had known each other before. So I brought her into the Paranormal Housewives because the other girls on the team, I swear we've all known each other before. It's like we're just so comfortable with each other, and sometimes we finish each other's sentences, and whether we were married in the last lifetime or sisters or mother-daughter, whatever, I definitely think we've known each other before this lifetime, all of us.
Yeah, those are really good questions you get, too. I'm loving these questions you're getting.
Well, let's go to another one from Mario here in the Spaced Out Radio chat room on Spreaker. He is asking, has there ever been a ghost or a haunting that any of you have just had to walk away from? Kim, we can start with you on that.
Me personally, no. But we do have a rule in the group that if somebody wants to go, we all go. But I don't know that I can recall us ever needing, there's times where things can get a little freaky and we all just maybe need to take a break. But Erin, I don't know that I recall.
Yeah,
left.
We did have one. It was a house case. And at the time it was just me, Kirsten, and Marcia. And a gentleman had called us asking for some help, and we went. And it was probably one of the weirdest investigations ever because my sensitivity, I usually get pictures in my head, and then I got to try to figure out what the pictures mean. But the pictures were crazy, like super crazy, didn't know what was going on, confusing, happy, sad, angry. It was so jumbled, and stuff was happening, and things were banging, and something was knocking at the door, and there was red lights, almost like eyes everywhere. And it actually scared Kirsten to death. She didn't say anything, but when we left, because we collected our evidence, and we left, and when she left, she says, I cannot go into that house again. Something's there that's negative. We cannot do that again. So I said, okay, and we actually contacted a team that specializes in that kind of stuff, and that team went in there and helped the homeowner get rid of that thing. that was in their house. So yeah, we had, and that was pretty much the one encounter. We did have, Kirsten, I know, did have another encounter with a woman that contacted us asking for our help, that there was a spirit in their house that had scratched her child. And that's kind of that's a fine line that we have to walk, because we don't know if that actually is like a spirit or if it's actually actual abuse.
Right.
So that was another case that we actually did not take, and we referred her to her spiritual leader, whatever church that she went to go there, because that was another thing that we didn't really want to get involved with.
Jen, how about you for the same question? Is there a place that you've ever just walked away from?
No, I mean, I am a thrill seeker, so I would say that I usually want to stay. So I mean, there's never really been a case like that. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't leave.
And what about you?
We're there.
Erin, what about you?
Erin.
What? Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I've ever wanted to leave a place. I do know that when I was pregnant with Riley, my daughter, there was a certain place that we investigated that there was a building. There were several buildings in this place. And there was a building that I actually would not go into because I had been in it before, and there was some not happy or even sane ghosts in there, and I was like, nope, I'll sit out here, thank you, with my pregnant self. So, yes.
Well, I mean, you have to think for two at that point.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that with Riley, everybody has their own way of protecting themselves when they go on investigations. And I have this thing, I call it my shield, and I put up my shield when I don't want people to harm me or things to harm me or anything, and I put up my shield before any investigation, and I can lower it and make it thinner and do all this cool stuff so I can feel.
I always forget to do that.
Yeah, Jen always forgets to put her shield up. But anyways, when I was pregnant with Riley,
me, you put your shield up. Sorry.
When I was pregnant with Riley actually had her own shield. And so she would put a shield up, and it was thick and big, and I couldn't feel anything. And I remember we were at some silo remember, Kimberly, that silo in Ojai or something?
Yeah,
and
I'm
sitting there, I'm looking at my belly, and I'm actually arguing with the child that's in my belly to put her shield down so I could at least feel something. And she wouldn't. And, it was driving me nuts. I was already arguing with her before she was even born.
What does that feel like, though? And sorry for cutting you off there, but I'm amazed. Like, the child obviously is still connected to the spiritual side, but what does that feel like when you already are trying to get around this shield that your unborn child has put up as you were about to go into an investigation? It felt like a tug of war. Maybe she knew something that I didn't know. That's why her shield was so strong that day, which is a very good possibility. But at that time, I wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking like, hey, I need to do what I need to do, so can you please stop putting the shield up? But the cool part about being a sensitive and feeling spirits is that I actually could feel the different spirits that were around me that wanted to occupy the body that was in my belly, which was one of the coolest things I've ever felt. And I could tell how many were around. With my daughter, there was 2. With my son, there was 3. And it's not necessarily like they were fighting for it, but they were just trying to decide which one was going to take over and going to take that body for this lifetime.
Wow.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
That is deep.
We talked in the first half hour about the sexism that is in the paranormal field. I'm going to take this in a different direction. And Kim, I'd like to start with you on this, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Have you ever ran into sexist spirits that wouldn't deal with you because you're women?
You know, I have. We have a male investigator friend who's one of the ones that sort of investigates as we do. He's very kind and gentle. And there are times where if it's quiet and, we're really not getting anything, we'll say, hey, will you, lead this EVP session? And things turn around. I don't know if it's being sexist on the other side or if it's just, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but sometimes that works if we're not getting responses or something.
Although we do seem to, as women though, it's interesting because I feel like we tend to get more EVPs than some of the male teams.
We do.
We get a whole bunch. I think they like talking to us.
Yeah, it certainly can go both ways. But I know that the ladies have also felt dominating male spirits holding back other spirits, right, ladies?
Oh, yeah.
From coming forth.
Yep. Because
so
they want to be in charge on the other side.
Too.
Yep.
Yeah,
they want to be in charge on the other side, just like here. Not every male. Sorry. I don't want to generalize, like Kimberly said earlier.
Oh, right. We're not trying to. We're so sorry.
No.
Men.
I know.
Oh.
Such a bad species. Let's get to another question from Claudia here. And Claudia is asking, do any of you paranormal housewives sleep at night with the light on? Do you burn sage, say prayers before going into an investigation?
Yes.
I sleep with a nightlight. And, it's so funny because, there is a part of me that still is a little fearful when I'm by myself. When I'm with the girls, for some reason, I don't know what it is. I'm all excited and there's no fear, and I'll just run into a dark basement or whatever. And for some reason, in my own home, I get all kind of creeped out, and I need a nightlight. I'd flip out if I turned around and something was there. I don't know why I feel that way, but it's for some reason, so I do that.
I don't sleep with a nightlight, an investigation.
What?
Go
ahead, Kimberly.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I do not sleep with a nightlight. I'm completely comfortable in the dark. I don't get scared very often. I do have a spirit that lives in my house. I allow her to stay. Usually I want everybody to go, but she watches over my kids, so I let her stay. She's pretty awesome. But I do cleanse my house. I don't burn sage. My son has allergies. So we actually use spray sage because they do sell spray sage. So I do spray sage the house, and I do cleanse the house, once a month or so, just to make sure nothing weird comes in. And then we do say a prayer before the investigation and after the investigation. And it's actually not really necessarily a prayer. It's some of us do, like Kirsten prays. That's what she feels is her shield. So we pray with her. So not everybody has to pray, but we do. I have to pray, but we do say a thing to the spirits when we start and when we when we start and when we end. We say, hey, we're here. We're only here to talk. If you'd like to come forward, come forward. And then at the end, we let them know, thank you for talking to us. It's been very helpful, and we need you to stay here. You do not need to follow us home. Please don't follow us home. Just to let them know, don't come with us, because we do not want them to come home with us.
Mm-hmm. No, and not to my house.
Yeah.
With my nightlight.
I can tell you a little bit of a weird story. I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned this one on the air before or not. But during this show, a number of months ago, I'm going to say probably 8-9 months ago, my wife was actually taken during this show.
Like, taken like by a real person?
Like extraterrestrial type taken.
Well, I don't know if that's cool, but that sounds cool to me.
Right? I wanted to react in a positive way, but was a little afraid to do so.
Yeah, it kind of tripped me out because, like, my studio is literally below my master bedroom in my house because I broadcast out of my house. And next morning, she's like, I think I got taken last night. I'm like, well, when? She goes, oh, it was definitely during your show because you weren't in bed and I heard your voice downstairs when I got back.
That's so weird.
Wow.
Was she scared or was she okay with it?
Oh, she's okay with it. She has pretty positive experiences. She's one of the lucky ones.
Oh.
Well, I have to say, I think that, and I know that this is not, I think my sister got abducted by aliens twice. She'll tell you that I'm crazy, but I swear when I was little, her and I shared a room, and I remember waking up in the middle of the night one night, and she was up looking out of our window. I had a window at the foot of my bed, and I would look at her, and I'd said, Carrie, get out of, stop looking in the window, go lay down. And she just kept looking at the window, and I looked over at her bed, and she wasn't there, and I looked at the window, and she's still there, and so I kind of leaned my head back, and I was like, Carrie, and I looked up, and she was gone, and then I looked at her bed, and she wasn't in her bed, and she wasn't at the window, and I thought to myself, okay, this is weird, I know I'm awake, at least I think I'm awake, and I laid my head back down, and then within a second, I looked back up, and she was in bed, not at the window, and she was asleep. And I woke up the next morning, I thought, well, that was weird. And then it happened again, like a couple of months later, pretty much the same scenario. And my sister has, she has a very poor memory of her childhood. Like, there's stuff that we used to do, like I used to read her a book every night. She doesn't remember me reading her a book every night. Her memory is not great. And I know that I've read other abduction stories that sometimes if you're abducted, you lose memory, and I swear she was abducted, like twice.
Yeah, I've had freaky moments at night in bed where I will think that I'm waking up, but I've actually been awake, having conversations with somebody above me, telling them, no, I'm not going today. No, I'm not going to do this tonight. I'm not going tonight. And I know in two specific incidences when that's happened, and I always thought, it never felt like I was talking to a spirit ever. It always felt extraterrestrial to me, always. And I always thought, gosh, did I actually go somewhere sometime? Why can't I remember that? But I would argue and be like, no, we're not doing this tonight. I am not going there tonight, and then you're like, well, who the hell am I talking to? So sometimes I wonder, too. It would be great to be regressed and find out, if I learn anything from that.
Well, we have the experiences around here that we just can't explain, so we just say hell with it and go with it. I don't know what...
Right? It makes life interesting.
Well, you know what? I can tell you during this show, one time, it was in August of last year, I was interviewing a lady out of New York. Her name is Angie Dixon, and she does a lot of study on psychic dreaming. And so during the break, it was during the Perseid meteor shower, and I actually ran outside to, see if I could see any meteors during the break, kind of stretch my legs and everything like that. And I have this tree that's very close to my house in my backyard, and out of the, you always see it out of the corner of your eye first. And I turned and looked, and of course, there's a full body apparition of a man standing there, dark hair, white T-shirt, mustache, and the really light colored blue jeans. Mm-hmm. And then he disappeared right in front of me. Well, next thing I know, Angie picks him up, and we start having a three-way conversation between the ghost in my yard, Angie in New York, and me in the studio in the house.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty trippy, and he's like, and she's asking, well, is there an extension on your house? And I'm like, yes, there is. She goes, well, do you know when that was built? And I'm like, no. And she's like, well, he seems confused that he's staring at the back of your house saying, where's my wood shop? Oh. And and all this. So we ended up having this really cool conversation. We asked him if he wanted to go to the light. He said no, he really likes the yard. He feels at home here. And he was very adamant to say, oh, I never come inside. Don't worry about that. I never come inside. And
how polite.
Yeah. And he's like, do you mind if I stay? And I said, no, I don't mind at all. I said, but I need a favor. And because I live in the wilderness, there's a lot of bears, there's a lot of cougars, there's a lot of, weird, not weird, but wild animals in this area. And I said, look, I need you to do me a favor. I said, we have kids. I need you to protect them from the animals. I said, I'm not worried about the deer. The deer don't scare me. But bears and cougars especially, I really don't want them on my property. And sure enough, a few weeks later, I'm sitting in my studio starting to prep for my nightly show, and all of a sudden I hear my wife yelling upstairs. And so I kind of move, and I'm like, what's going on? She goes, didn't you see the bear in the backyard? And I'm like, no. She goes, I don't know what scared it, but it took off out of our yard and couldn't get over our fence fast enough.
Oh, my God.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I just got
That's
chills.
wonderful.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So it really makes me think that, you know what, he's holding up, his name is Richard, he goes by Rick. It really makes me think that Rick is holding up his end of the bargain on this part. So I'm pretty thankful for that.
That's cool.
Well, and what's wonderful about that, too, and there's the proof for you, is you had someone who was able to connect to him psychically, and you were able to ask that favor, and you two were able to have a dialogue through that person, which is wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was very polite, because I remember the day we moved into this house, which was August 1st, and we're unloading the U-Haul truck that we used, and I swore, like, I have trees in my front yard, and I swear between the two front trees near the road that I actually saw a white T-shirt kind of blurrily, if that's a word, blurrily walk along the yard from my right to my left. And I was like, oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, moving from one haunted house to another. Wonderful. Because
lucky you.
Well, you get so used to it, right? You literally get so used to it. And
and we hope for it.
And then it happens again, But yeah, my wife being taken by the extraterrestrials, that's a whole different ballgame. And it's not the first time it's happened, but she, she's okay with it. And, they seem to like her, and, like her in a good way, not like, hey, we're going to, be stealing your ovaries or something along those
your
lines.
ovaries. Right. Yeah, that I would not like that.
No. So
she's very fortunate.
Yeah. Let's get to another question from Claudia here. And I'll ask
Claudia's
you individually,
awesome.
starting from Jennifer. Claudia is wondering, and we'll do this individually because I think it's important that, I'm sure you all don't have the exact same process that you go through. But what do you do?
I'm glad Jen's going first.
Yeah. Jen, what do you do for protection when you go out on an investigation?
Well, like we were saying earlier, I always forget to do that. I'm probably the person that doesn't do it. Typically, I just say the words. I just say, please don't touch me, don't follow me home, that kind of thing. So it's more of a verbal saying. I don't do like a full shield or have any jewelry or anything like that. It's just verbal for me. But I probably need to do that more. Right, Erin?
Yes, you need to do that more, Jen.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
You just got told.
No, we love each other. There's lots of love here. So no, it's verbal whenever I do it. And but see, what happens though is I want to feel things, and so sometimes I don't say it because I kind of want to get touched or whatever, and I think that you have to be careful.
Yeah, you can still get touched and feel stuff while still protecting yourself. It happens with me all the time.
Okay.
Erin, what do you do for protection?
Okay, so everybody used to make fun of me because they still make fun of me. I have
We
what's
giggle.
called I have what's called the shield, and it's when I first started investigating, I actually had to physically make a noise and move my hands around my body, thinking about a white light to shield myself. And I made a little sound, and I always got made fun of, and everybody used to make fun of me.
I must have come
And they would be
later
like,
because I don't remember the sound.
Yeah, because like that was my sound. It sounded like that's the sound,
please
right?
do that. Can you please do that?
No, I don't.
still?
I don't need to do
Because-
it anymore. I don't need to do it anymore.
Oh, for
so
me.
now though,
For me.
Okay, I'll do it next time for you. I still have the
Next time I
shield.
would like.
I don't need to make the noise. I don't need to put my hands around. I can just think about it, and it works just fine. But no, I have my little shield, and I can raise it and lower it and make it thinner and thicker, and do cool stuff with it so that I can feel stuff when I want to feel stuff, and I can be protected when I want to be protected. And then also what I do every single time, without fail, when I get in my car to leave, I say out loud in my car, "No one can follow me home. If you're in my car, get out." So I do that too.
Just get out. Get out,
Yep.
damn it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I don't say "damn it" because that's rude.
Oh,
but I
yes.
do say you cannot.
Sorry.
I'm firm, and I say you cannot come with me. You need to get out of my car.
That's a mother talking right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Aaron, what about you?
Except when we carpool. Except when we carpool, because I don't remember that.
Oh.
Did you say it in your
said
head?
before.
You know what? You probably don't. say
Jen's
it
exiting the
because
car.
I would-
Okay, I'll get out.
Yeah.
You're like, I'll get out.
Kimberly, what about you? What do you do to protect yourself?
I'm not nearly as interesting. No, you know what's funny is my dad told my aunt, I've been doing this for quite a few years now, but he's only told her 2 years ago that I do this. And she goes, "So your daddy tells me you're dancing with the devil." Just like that. And she says, "Well, I'm going to pray for you every day." And I'm like, "Great, I'll take it." Because again, I'm not the sensitive of the group. I don't even think about these things. But Erin would say, "Well, I'm protecting you right now." Or if Kirsten's saying a prayer, I'm like, "I'll take it." But
I got nothing for you. I got nothing.
Yeah, right. Thanks. It's just hopefully
There's no
standing
help.
next to them. But I don't know. It's interesting. I think some people who are certainly sensitive probably do need the protection, or else, you've got these hanger-ons because they know they're sensitive. They know they can communicate easily with them. I think with me, they just sort of fall off. They slide off like I'm a big snail or something. I'm just, I don't know. I don't think about it, but I'm lucky to be around people who do.
Well, and it is important to protect yourself. Kimberly, you do think about it, and everybody has their own way of protecting themselves, whether it's praying, whether it's doing the shield. I've even investigated with a girl that took a Shrek CD and would not investigate without her Shrek CD in her ghost bag.
Really?
That was her protection. It was a Shrek CD. Shrek. Like the big green thing? It was Shrek.
Yeah, I got it.
That was her protection. And that is what protected her. And everybody can have their own thing, and it doesn't have to be one or another.
Sure.
What about groups, though, who don't protect themselves? Because there's a lot of people, and I'm going to throw that scientific word out there, who don't believe what is going on or what is happening. They consider themselves more debunkers than ghost hunters or whatever you want to call them, and they don't protect themselves at all. Have you ever, and Erin, will start with you on this one, have you ever had conversation with groups who maybe don't protect themselves because they don't believe it, or maybe they're just so new to the field that they haven't learned the understanding of what protection can bring?
Yes, I actually do know a few investigators that do not protect themselves, and they are definitely on the scientific end of this whole thing. There are skeptics. They don't think that they need to, and it's not necessarily, the protection is a lot of times you don't need it because you're just, around regular spirits that are just, people without bodies.
Right.
But for those occasional, 0.1% where you could be around something bad, that is pretty much when you need it the most. And so that's why I do it every single time. But, you know, a lot of these investigators, scientific investigators, haven't come across anything, you know, super bad or super evil. That's, you know, and that's fortunate for them because, but also here's the other thing about that, is the scientific people or skeptics are not necessarily scared. And a lot of the evil stuff that's out there latches onto people that are scared. And so these scientific people are like, I don't believe in you. You're not there. I mean, it's not, that's, you're not scientifically there. So their fear is not drawing them in. Do you know, does that make any sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, so I don't think that those scientific people have encountered anything truly evil, that they've needed the protection, but also they're not scared, so they don't draw that stuff in.
Yeah.
I was watching an episode of
my
Bones once, and she was, I don't know, my television theory, and someone had put, you know, voodoo on her, and she said, I don't believe in voodoo, so there's nothing about it that can affect me. So I think that's what you're thinking, Erin, too.
Yeah.
Is if it's not a belief, then they don't think it can affect them.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and my boyfriend investigates as well, and he's on the type of team that is the debunking type of team. And I don't think they do anything to protect themselves ever, but that they don't really come from a point of needing to protect themselves. You know, they set up their cameras, everything in I would say on their team is a little bit more scientific based, and then they leave, you know. So we're more into the feeling and experiencing, and they're more into catching the evidence on audio or video. So I guess they don't feel like they have to do anything to protect themselves.
The debunkers. The damn debunkers.
That damn, I know.
But it's good.
I know
it's good to have those.
We fight all the time. We fight. We argue about our techniques.
Aw, that's what you guys argue about.
Aw, isn't that cute?
I know.
Isn't that cute?
No, but it's part of the process, though, too. You know, because you can't fall for everything, and you want to put out the best evidence that you possibly can, which is totally our goal. You know, we really go after, you know, could it have been this? What was it this? Try that again.
I think there's a good happy medium.
We could have easily, we had a pretty amazing picture that we thought we caught just on our last investigation in that basement, right, at the house off of Reseda.
Mm-hmm.
And, but, you know, we were looking for every source as to why that happened, and we freaking figured it out, and you're like, gosh darn it. Why did we have to debunk it? It was so good.
We do debunk stuff once in a while. We are like, nope, that was me. But one of our rules in it's not really a rule, but it's kind of what we go by, is that we like when things happen in threes. So if you have three pieces of evidence that kind of all line up together, that is some pretty convincing evidence, whether it be one person got touched and then you heard a knock and then you got an EVP all around the same, like within that 3 minutes or whatever. But we like to go by the rule of three.
J.A. has a question in the SOR Space Travelers Club, and I think this is important, and this will probably take us into hour number 2 as well. Or hour number 3, I guess. Hour number 3. Goodness, I'm running out of time here.
Yeah. The
question is, do the Paranormal Housewives have a purpose behind your investigations besides just documenting by EVPs or etc., such as helping spirits resolve issues that keep them earthbound or helping people out? Because and I'll add to this question, one of my biggest pet peeves with the whole paranormal field, and I said this right off the top, is many of these groups are there for themselves. They're not there for the spirits. They're not there to prove whatever they feel they need to prove. They're there for their own selves, their own ego, and they collect the evidence. They do nothing with the evidence. Yeah, they go through it, but realistically, it's just, playing with ghosts. Are you different?
This is Erin. I'll start. I think that in our team, everybody has a different purpose of why they do this. I know for me, my purpose is actually to contact the spirits and see if there's anything I can do to either help them or help the living live with the spirit. Because I grew up in a haunted house. I'm not necessarily going to say it's a haunted house. There was a spirit in the house, and I grew up with him, and we lived together. And actually, when my mom moved out of my childhood home, we asked him to go with her, and he did. And for me, I want to help both the living and the dead. So I want to find out as much evidence as I can, and if I can help them any, I totally want to help them. I know for Marcia, she's very much into the children's spirits. So when there's children's spirits, she's very much into helping them. And, and I know for Kirsten, she actually has evolved from, how she feels about the spirit world now from when she started is completely different. And she'll tell you that she's completely changed. At first, it was like trying to prove that it exists, and she was very much into this is getting the evidence to prove that ghosts exist. And then after a while, she didn't care that she needed proof that spirits exist because she knew, and so her focus changed. And I think that Kimberly and Jen can say their own things, but I think everybody is in this for a different reason.
I remember one of some of our best investigations have been held at this church that Erin had set up for us. And to me, that was always where I could find the answers of the afterlife, where they would actually almost answer your questions of the afterlife. Is there a God? Will I see my family? And, again, it's not trying to prove to the world that ghosts exist, because sometimes you're just not going to change people's mind. They have to experience it themselves, and that's it. Because there's a lot of crap out there and a lot of fake stuff out there that people are just like, they're over it. And they don't believe anything now unless they experience it themselves. So for me, it's very spiritual to be speaking with ghosts. And we ask these questions of, is there a God? Is there a heaven? And can I get stuck here? Do I have a choice here? Just trying to find answers for my future when I move on. And just to also reiterate what Erin had said, it's wonderful doing home investigations because families they're scared or they're nervous or they don't understand. And it is a great feeling to help them learn to live with a spirit, especially one that's not malicious or something that's doing absolutely no harm, but maybe spooking people. So that is my goal, is if I can get one ghost to say, maybe on an EVP would be beautiful. Yes, there is a heaven. I would die and go to heaven,
Yeah. For me, I will say it did start in a bit of a selfish way, where I had, heard the ghost stories and Erin had told me what she did, and, I was like, oh, I really want to do that. So it did start out that way, where I was thinking just for me, like, I want to experience going to a haunted place and being scared and finding out, if there's really spirits. And so, yeah, it definitely did start that way. But after a while, when we started meeting people, and some of them would actually be really concerned or scared for their children, or just worried, then you do start to think, wow, I do need to help this person with their fears and figure out if there is something here and what we can do to help. So it has evolved actually over time.
We only got a couple minutes here before we're going to take a break here. But I do want to get into this very seriously, because there are so many paranormal groups out there who are playing the ultimate reality game. Instead of sitting at home playing, cribbage or video games, they're out playing with ghosts. And they really don't have a specific purpose for what there is. We also have heard from Jennifer, her boyfriend, is in a debunking type group, which I don't think really serves a quality purpose either. That's my opinion, and
I'll tell them that.
And I will stick with that. Oh, I'm fine with that. I would debate this topic any time, But in my opinion, and maybe I'm naive to this, and Jen, we can start with you on this.
Sure.
Should there not be a reason why you get into this field? Maybe it's a personal issue that you have to figure out because maybe you had an experience as a child or a young adult. Maybe it's because, you want to figure out, is there life after death? Do you think there's, with the amount of paranormal teams out there right now, that there isn't enough purpose and people are playing more like Pokemon Go with ghosts rather than trying to figure out actual issues of whether or not there is life after death, which in reality is probably the most important question in mankind's history?
It is a huge question. I think a lot of them don't realize until they get involved. I think it is a little bit Pokemon Go. They just want to go to a dark, scary place, like, one of those amusement parks where people jump out at you, and that's kind of what they think it is that you just creep through hallways and things pop out at you and you scream. And, I think there are a lot of people like that. I think, everybody is entitled to get into the paranormal world, as in if they're really interested in the other side, because that is a big question. What is out there? What happens to you after you die? Is this another dimension? Is this heaven? What is this? And so, if you do have those questions, I think everybody has a right. But if you just want things to pop out at you, then maybe you're going in the wrong direction.
There's actually a debate going on in the paranormal world on the difference between a ghost hunter and a paranormal investigator. And
hold that thought, Erin. Hold that thought. We're going to step out for a break. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio. Paranormal Housewives are our guests tonight. We'll be right back after this break. Thank you.
Greetings and salutations, space travelers, from the Chronicles of the Unknown team.
What is Chronicles of the Unknown? I keep hearing about this thing.
It's a new paranormal reality TV show based right here in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Follow our team as we uncover claims of activity on the Caribou Gold Rush Trail. You can also follow us here every third Monday, where 2 members of our team will be available to answer your questions. We'll give you some equipment updates and some of our experiences on the road, right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski, lead investigator with the U4COP. On the final Monday of every month, you can listen to me and host Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio's Strange Days. We're going to get to the heart of the matter when it comes to what's happening out there. People are seeing and experiencing things from ET contact to Bigfoot, and I want to hear about it. Your experiences are what we investigators need to help solve these unknown mysteries. So tune in at spacedoutradio.com to the final Monday of every month from Butch Witkowski's Strange Days.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
This is your medium, Joanna, from Spaced Out Weekend, 2 mediums and a large. I would love it if you would come and join us with host James Tyson every other Sunday on Spaced Out Weekend. Together, we will take your calls and your questions live. Our goal is to provide you with a positive outlook on deep questions that you may have. Questions regarding love, relationships, money, or whatever else is on your mind. Come and check us out at spacedoutradio.com.
Have you checked out the SOR Spacewire at spacedoutradio.com yet? Every day we post the latest stories regarding the weird, strange, and completely unbelievable. From cryptid and UFO sightings to the conspiracy world, we tackle it all. Hi there, I'm Eric Markham, Spaced Out Radio's news director for the SOR Spacewire. And if you have a story, I want to hear it. Email me at news@spacedoutradio.com.
Patrolling the Pacific Northwest, we are always on the lookout for the strange and unassuming stories that real people are experiencing. Hi, I'm Vincent Zunza from Pacific North Weird. Me and Alexandra Sullivan have teamed to bring to you those odd stories that never seem to make it into the mainstream. Stories so weird that will leave you scratching your head wondering, is this real? It's as real as it gets with Pacific North Weird. You can watch our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Become more intimate and interactive with Spaced Out Radio. Join our Space Travelers Club with your new membership. For $5 a month, we'll provide you with special access to the website, monthly prize draws from books to psychic readings, along with monthly newsletter, private interviews, and more. Sign up today to be part of Spaced Out Radio's experience.
Every month on Spaced Out Radio, we look into the deep and dark reports of cryptids roaming around the world with me, Rob Morphy, from Cryptopia.us. I would love it if you would join me and host Dave Scott as we delve into the most arcane stories and reports regarding creatures of the unknown. My job is to hunt down the details and bring the evidence forward to you. These aren't your regular Bigfoot stories I'm talking about either. You can find out more about crypto history at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Strange creatures lurking in the night, the sounds of wood knocking in the forest, odd happenings right out of a fictional world. These are the reports I love. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, and I would love it if you join me and Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month on our journey into the unknown land of cryptozoology at spacedoutradio.com. From Mothman to Frogman and everything in between. Hey, they don't call me the crypto guru for nothing.
Find yourself constantly looking up in the sky, looking for answers? Have you had extraterrestrial contact? Are you an abductee? Looking for answers to your experiences? Hi there, I'm R. Keith Andrews, Spaced Out Radio's resident ET expert. Join me live the first Friday of every month where I take questions from the Spaced Out Radio chat room and help you understand those from the far-off world. It's 2 hours of knowledge every experiencer should listen to. Hope to see you there.
Did you know that Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi, it's James Tyson from Spaced Out Weekend. Every Saturday and Sunday night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, you can join me and my guests for some great chatter about what's going on out in the universe, or even in that dark part of the basement you really don't want to go back into. Well, let's find the answers to your experiences together. So come on up to Uncle Jimbo's cabin on the weekend. For more information, look us up at spacedoutradio.com.
Would you like to connect with us on Spaced Out Radio? Head to spacedoutradio.com to check out the latest shows, guests, and sponsors. And don't forget to sign up for the Space Travelers Club. You'll find all you need at spacedoutradio.com. Welcome back to the final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. During the break, I had a little bit of water, went down the wrong pipe, so I'm struggling here just a little bit. I apologize for that. Tomorrow night on the show, we are going to be talking with author Sheila Renee Parker, pardon me. We're going to be talking more about the paranormal, the ghosts, the activity, and the spirits that are haunting us. 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time. Everything at spacedoutradio.com. Remember, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at Spaced Out Radio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. On Instagram, we can be followed at Dave Scott, SOR. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. And our website is spacedoutradio.com. While there, you can join up for the SOR Space Travelers Club. It's only $5 a month. You can win monthly prize draws. You can get access to a special section for posting on our website, and so much more. Read up on the SOR Space Travelers. Make that the SOR Space Wire, which is our news director. Hey, guess what? I forgot to mention this in the first hour. You can now listen to us on iTunes. So we have now signed up for iTunes. All of our archives are there. You can listen to any show that you want. I'm excited to be a part of iTunes now and to have this show a part of it as well. It's kind of another big feat as we take another giant step forward in this show. Remember, you can find everything at spacedoutradio.com. Tonight we are talking with the Paranormal Housewives out of California. We got Erin, Kimberly, and Jennifer with us. Kimberly was going to dash off early, but she's having way too much fun. She's sticking around. Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Right before the break, we were talking about the purpose of paranormal investigation. And we got into it a little bit with Jennifer there in regards to the fact that there's a lot of teams out there using this as an adventure game. They collect the evidence, they go through it, we got an EVP, we got an orb here, and something walking over there. And they're spending thousands of dollars on equipment. Sorry, I'm still coughing here. I apologize about that, even though you didn't hear me. I'm quick on the mute button tonight. Yes.
You are. You are.
Anyhow, Erin, I'm curious to get your opinion on that, because in my opinion, there's a lot of time being wasted. There's a lot of investigations being wasted in the fact that we're not finding solutions to answers to these questions. And do you think I'm naive in saying that the purpose of these investigations should have some sort of conclusion? Whether it's scientific or not is irrelevant. But in the end, shouldn't we all be trying to figure out what it's like on the other side? Because the one guarantee in life is we are all going to die. And I know from my own personal fact and my own personal faith, I believe there's something there. My experiences tell me there's something there. But we still need that, as a human, that concrete proof. And we have thousands upon thousands of investigators out there doing this, and it doesn't seem like we're any closer to trying to garner the answer to that simple question.
Right. Yeah, I've been thinking about that actually for a while now, thinking what can we do differently, or what can we start doing? Because I think we are, and for not just us, but every group out there, I think we're using the same tools and equipment and methods, and I do think we need to start exploring different ideas and coming up with a different way to go about it, because I don't think we are coming up with answers. Yes, we are coming up with voices, EVPs and stuff like that, but there's got to be something that can take us to a new level. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think we all need to,
brilliant.
all need to go up a step. And figure this out.
What is that step?
Yeah, we don't.
Right.
I don't think anybody knows what that next step is. The teams that are out there are just every team is different, and there are some teams that they want to find like the Holy Grail and show everybody like, hey, I got this apparition on my camera, and so this is you can now say, I so-and-so have proven that there are ghosts. And a lot of teams out there are like that. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, Dave, you're a guy. That's where the guys' egos come into play. They're always like, well, this is my spot. I found it here. And no, this is my spot. I found it here. And there's so much controversy in the paranormal field. Whether it be, like I was saying before the break, there is even an argument on if you're a ghost hunter or a paranormal investigator. There are people out there that if you call yourself a ghost hunter, they poo-poo you and are like, well, you're not a legitimate paranormal investigator, because a paranormal investigator comes with evidence and scientific method, and so you're just a ghost hunter. Now, I have a license plate frame, which Kimberly made for us. Thank you, Kimberly. That says paranormalhousewives.com, which is our website. But and then it says ghost hunter, because you know what? I'm a ghost hunter. I'm a paranormal investigator. I'm all of it. Because when you go to somebody and they don't know, like I'll say to them, I'm a paranormal investigator. And they'll go, you're a what? And then I'll say, I'm a ghost hunter. And they're like, oh, that's cool, or whatever reaction they have. People that are not in the paranormal field have no clue what to call us. I mean, we've even been called Ghostbusters before. And we're definitely not Ghostbusters because we don't bust any ghosts. But it's just words. And people get their panties in a wad so much with, calling yourself ghost hunter or paranormal investigator.
I love the words that Erin uses.
It's just it drives me insane, because on Facebook, the arguments that happen on Facebook, it is like watching a soap opera. We do not get involved in it at all. But I am friends with everybody so that I can watch all the drama, because it's like watching a soap opera. But they'll argue over if you're a ghost hunter or a paranormal investigator. And I'm sitting back going, it's kind of the same thing for me.
It is. Yeah. Dave, do you have a lot of groups up there that have drama or experience drama up there, or is this just a California thing?
Well, you know what? I can tell you this. There is the museum where I had the experience. There was another group that is kind of following around friends of mine, Chronicles of the Unknown. And what they are doing is they're a little jealous that they have a television pilot that's being viewed and all this kind of stuff. And they ended up going into the museum where we investigated. And since that happened, friends of mine in the area have dubbed me the new paranormal guy for the museum. And I was actually quite dumbfounded that this group, after they investigate, they actually have the audacity to ask for exclusive rights to be the only group to investigate in that territory.
That's not unusual.
Yeah, we see that.
That's kind of normal. We see that a lot.
Well,
it's stupid.
It is the most ignorant. It is the most ignorant thing that I had ever heard of. And with me now being kind of like the paranormal guru, if I could call myself that, because I'm sure as hell not, right, of these groups, I immediately said, well, no, we're not signing that. I haven't talked to the group personally, but at no point are we going to sign that. But my vengeance on that is pretty much saying to any group, and we're going to start it in 2017, that if you want to investigate the museum, that's great. I have no problem with you coming to investigate the museum. No, don't ask us if you can have exclusivity, because you will automatically not be asked back. And number two, because this is a nonprofit organization, if you want to experience the spirits that are there, and it is a very active place, we now require a fee.
Yeah.
Because one group can ruin it all.
Yes.
Oh, and we've seen that. Yeah. We've seen that so often. And we do have a lot of places now that are charging a lot to get in because of that. So
because of one group
and
ruining
most
something.
A lot of the historic places that we go to, we do pay a fee, and we are happy to pay the fee because we do want to preserve these places, and we do want to donate to them to make sure that they stay around for a long time. Because for me, as a ghost hunter or paranormal investigator, whatever you want to call me, I also enjoy and like to preserve history, and like to see and feel all the old things that are out there. And so I am more than happy to, donate to these places. What I don't like is when a group takes over a place and charges thousands of dollars just to walk in for 2 hours or whatever.
With a whole group of people. Like they'll get like
40 other people. Yeah, and they dominate everything, and I'm just like, no, that's not okay. If you want us to donate, $50 or whatever, $20, $50, whatever, to help the building, that's fine. But to say, nope, you have to I'm charging your group of 5 girls, $1,000 to come in here. I'm like, that's crazy. That's not. Yeah.
See, my fee is going to be $250. I think that's
great. That's a great fee.
That is a perfect fee, because if they have 10 people, it's $25 a person. So, I mean, that's not outrageous at all. And it's helping the museum.
Yes,
absolutely.
And we're all about helping that local establishment.
And for a lot of these groups, they don't care. They don't care about the location. Nope. It's all about them. Nope. And that's what we have to try and preserve in some of these locations, especially when you get into the smaller towns where people may not be familiar. Sure, they may have seen the television shows or whatever, but I'll tell you, like up here in Canada, when you had, like 90% of the Canadian population lives within 100 kilometers of the Canada-US border, anywhere in the nation. Okay, so when you start to head up north into some more remote areas, you can literally drive down the highway and say, oh, that place is haunted, that place is definitely haunted, that place is haunted. I've been to places since I moved up north here that I didn't even know existed. And you look at them and you're like, and you talk to friends who've investigated them, they're like, oh yeah, there's, they found, after we left there, they found 3 bodies behind the shed where our psychic told them. And that's literally how it works around here. I mean, you're remote. Yeah. But when you get people out there who want to try and take advantage for their own personal egos, I don't like that drama. And to me, because we don't have an answer, because 95% of the groups out there have no clue on what their whole purpose of investigation is, combined with all of these places that don't understand that there is history to be told through the spirits, we are losing a lot of credibility as a field from the mainstream public, because we're not trying to solve anything. We're there because I don't know how many people I've had try to get on this show who are strictly there because, oh, well, we have a pilot out, because...
everybody's got a pilot.
Oh, exactly. Everybody's got a pilot. I don't care about that. What do you do with your evidence? Tell me what you are doing with your evidence. Are you telling a story? Like the guys from Chronicles who I have befriended, their job is, and the purpose of their television show is not to go so much in the U.S. because it wouldn't make sense, but up here in Canada, what they're trying to do is they are trying to tell the history of the Gold Rush Trail, which starts, it started in Nevada, California, went straight up to the Yukon and the Klondike and through to Alaska. Well, they're doing the BC portion of that. So they're trying to tell that story through the ghosts that communicate with them.
That's cool.
Right? So there's a purpose there. They're telling a story. They're telling Canada's history. And a lot of groups aren't doing that.
It's funny because we have been asked several times by several different producers to do a television show. And we've said and we actually talked about it because in at least in California, in the United States, if you are on a paranormal show, you're kind of shunned because most paranormal shows out there, you never know if they're faking evidence. And I think a lot of them, and I'm sorry, paranormal shows if you don't, but I think a lot of them do. And the reason why I say that is I remember watching Ghost Hunters first season, and they got maybe one EVP the entire show. And the whole time you're sitting on the edge of your seat going, what's going to happen, what's going to happen? Now they get tons of evidence all the time, and it's like sometimes
it's not reality.
So when we had these producers come to us, and we've worked with some great producers, we actually had one come to us and say, hey, I don't want to really focus on the investigation. I want to focus on you guys as housewives and mothers and with your careers and jobs and how the paranormal fits into that. Because for all of us, the paranormal's in our lives pretty much 24 hours a day, no matter if you're taking your kid to school or going to work. There's always some aspect of the paranormal. So we talked about it, and we're like, if we do this, if this happens, people are going to hate us. And it's true. We had to actually talk to each other and say, is it okay if people are going to hate us? Because if we do this show, people are going to hate us. And all because they think we've sold out, even though we as a group have said, no, we will not ever, ever, ever fake evidence. And but also our sizzle reels have never been picked up because I think that maybe we don't have enough drama and we don't allow them to do stuff,
Yeah, there was a TV show. There was a TV show that we were going to do, and the producer wanted us to produce an audible, as she quoted, an audible EVP. And I mean, we gave her, our Class A EVPs that we thought were really audible, and she couldn't hear them. And she was like, well, how come it's not like the TV show Ghost Hunters where we can hear it? And I was like, well, you got to listen with your headphones. And she still couldn't hear it. And I was like, well, they probably have equipment that, that they can get, or they're faking it, one of the two, because usually EVPs are very quiet. Usually you do have to hear it with headphones or replay it over and over again. And so when it is, transmitted to TV, I mean, you have to use equipment to turn it up. So, and we wouldn't do that. So I think that was part of the problem.
And we just did an investigation at a theater in one of our local communities, and we've gone there a couple times, right, ladies? And each time you go, you might not get something one night, and you might get something another night. But the more time you spend in a certain location, ghosts are on their own time. So the Ghost Hunter shows, they are there for 3 days. They do say that they are there for 3 full days, which is really good. But the last time we were in there, the owners of the theater said, hey, we had this pretty famous group just come in here, and they said the place isn't haunted. And I was like, well, how many nights were they here? And they were just here they were here for like 4 hours. And I'm all, okay, well, I'm sorry they didn't have the experiences that we're getting when we come in here. But yeah, Ghost Hunters, they do spend more time there. Yeah, for sure. And they're on their own time. But it's always that one little bit of evidence that makes you go back. That one teeny tiny experience.
Chasing the dragon.
Because ghost hunting can be pretty boring most nights.
Yep.
And look how we use that word so freely too. Ghost hunting. It's I'm sorry. Paranormal investigations can be so boring sometimes.
Paranormal.
I'm a ghost hunter.
But I mean, I do notice. Yeah, like we will go to places one day or one night, and we will get so much activity, so much will go on, and then we'll happen to go back on another time, and it feels totally different, and we get nothing. I do believe it moves around. I think even
it's a crapshoot.
Even in a house, like you were saying, Kimberly, before, how like we'll go to the kitchen and it will go up to the attic. And then we hear everything in the attic. We go up to the attic, and then it moves down to the bathroom. It just seems like it constantly moves. And so you do, I think, have to be at a location for not necessarily a couple days in a row, but you need to keep coming back to
come on a full moon, come on a windy night, come on a rainy day, come in the daytime.
With these TV shows,
mix it up.
I know. With these TV shows, they only have like an hour. They don't have much time to film. And so, and I know it's not about TV shows. In fact, I really don't care about a TV show, but that's usually what they will ask for is, they want it done very quickly, and they want you to get whatever you're going to get in that hour.
They want evidence,
and you can kind of see how they get lost. Yeah, and they get lost because in the beginning their show is probably very exciting, like it was, and as Erin was saying, in the beginning they debunked everything and they made families feel comfortable in their own homes again. And now they don't even do homes anymore. And I loved it when they debunked an entire house and made them feel that way. But I guess the audiences just got hungrier and they needed to see more. And now we're oversaturated, and now we got to think out of the box. Do we need to investigate underwater? Do we need to investigate while we're in REM sleep? What do we, I mean, what's the next step?
Maybe take a different step. Yeah.
We need to find the next step, ladies. That's our job.
I don't want to investigate underwater.
No. Scuba gear? Snorkel?
No.
I'm in, Kimberly.
How many demons have any one of you ever run into? Because demonology...
Zero for me.
And you got to admit, I mean, demonology and these demonologists have popped up like quicker than, Jack in the Box on the corner. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah. That's
a tricky line, though.
Experienced anything. Yeah.
I have experienced one, and it was that house that I told you about earlier. And we left, and we got a special team who specializes in demons to go in and fix it. But
we now have friends that do this, Erin, which is a little disturbing to me. I've been seeing things on Facebook with normal paranormal investigator friends who say they're headed off to handle demons at a house, and I'm thinking, how do you know that's what you're dealing with, A, and B, how the hell do you know how to deal with it in a family's home where people are involved?
I do think that people...
I'm bothered by it.
...are getting a little too thinking anything is a demon, because I've literally encountered one in my entire
I hate the D word.
career.
A religion thing. Don't you guys think it's a religion thing too? Because I know in the Catholic religion, everything seems to be demon, and I'm not Catholic, and so that's not really on even my board. Like I personally don't even really believe in.
I agree with you.
Malicious
spirit,
religion,
but
well, the one that I did encounter, I am not religious. I was raised Catholic, but I'm not Catholic now. The one that we did encounter at that home, I do think it was not like anything I've ever encountered before, ever. And so it was definitely different, and whether that is called a demon or whether that's called something else, I don't know. It was bad, and I did not want to be a part of it. So I'm glad that
it's a nice term of describing it.
Yeah. So I'm glad that I knew a team, a team that was well established and had been doing this kind of type of stuff. That I'm glad that I could get them to come in and handle whatever it is. I think that people just say demon because that's everybody thinks demon equals bad, and I do think that there's also a lot of people call them demons, but they're just pissed off, angry spirits. I mean, in this world, there are living people that kill people and do horrible things to people. They're not demons. They're just really horrible people. And those people die and become ghosts and become really horrible ghosts.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And they're messing with people's lives and people's homes, and this might be their idea of the next step, like, well, the ghost hunting thing is outdated, so now let's go to demon hunting. And they're scaring families to death
They're
into thinking there's something
scaring
going
people,
on.
though.
And,
Yep.
yeah, they're scaring people, and it's wrong. I'm very bothered by this new little fad that's happening.
Yeah.
It's upsetting. It's been upsetting for me to see some of our friends go that route, and I'm just like, where the heck did you pick up this skill? You know?
Well, it's the same.
Have
with
you
the
been working
Bigfoot
with a
crowd.
Catholic?
It's the same with the Bigfoot crowd, where they hear something fart in the background, and there's Bigfoot. Bigfoot's right there. And I've told this story many a times.
That's some fart.
Well, and you know what? I've told this story many a times on this show, and because you're new to it, and there's always new listeners popping in, so I don't mind mentioning it again. One of the oldest investigators in this field is a scientist named John Bindernagel, lives on Vancouver Island. He's 84 years old, and he's literally been studying Bigfoot for almost 70 years here in British Columbia. And he had heard, I went to a conference last year, and he had heard that I was coming and that I had had Bigfoot experiences. So here I am thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to meet the Gordie Howe or the Babe Ruth of Bigfoot research. And next thing I know, he comes up to me and says, are you Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio? And I said, yeah. And he goes, I heard you had a couple of Bigfoot sightings. I need to hear about this. Pleasure to meet you, by the way. Like he was just excited like a child about to open up presents on Christmas morning. And I'm like, here I have John Bindernagel standing in front of me, legend in the field, and he's wanting to hear my Bigfoot stories. Like, how cool is this? Like, I'm all giddy now, right? So anyways, the conversation actually went to the Bigfoot television shows, and I said, what do you think of this? What do you think of these television shows and how Sasquatch is now Squatch and all this? And, when I asked him that question, to see his emotions change, and he took a big, deep breath, and he kind of sighed, and he's like, along the terms of, and I'm paraphrasing here, that television has set back so much investigative theory that they were trying to prove to real science, and it's really sad, like he's saying, I'm pretty sure I've met a few of them. They're good people, but it just, you could tell that he was trying to be so politically correct about it. Right. But you could see the disappointment in his face, seeing like, goodness, like 70 years of research and trying to build credibility has been ruined by 5 years of television and the word Squatch. It was painful.
And that's true. It's the exact same way with ghost hunters and television shows. I mean, they have television shows now that the guys run around screaming at ghosts and cursing at them, and it's like, come on, you guys, those are people that you're trying to talk to, not crazy things. Those are actual people that have died. You need to give them some respect, and that's the part that drives me nuts. And just being mean, first of all, in general, to anything, whether you're alive or dead, is not cool with me. It's things like that give people that are legitimately investigating bad names, and that's sad for us because we're trying to do something good, and these television shows, the producers and all that stuff, they want to make a lot of money, which is great. That's their job, but it's almost like they're exploiting, the paranormal. And when there's actual legitimate people that want to do a television show, we're boring. Like for us, we're boring because we wanted to talk about our lives and how it impacted our lives and what we did on the investigations. And that's not enough for television studios anymore. They want to see like the full-bodied apparition on the camera.
And they want you to fight on camera as well.
And they want you to fight.
The Housewives of New Jersey's paranormal investigation show.
Yeah,
that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And it gives, and like she said, it does give us a
fight.
bad name too. No, I don't want to fight. I'm too tired. But
we do have arguments. We're women. We have arguments.
Yes,
but for our
women don't argue together. Oh my God, no,
not even
that
the
never
bestest
happens.
of friends.
Yes, we do.
Yes. Well,
but even
yes.
the thing is that even if we argue, we it's like a marriage. We talk about it, we handle it, and we move on. Like it's that's it. We all love each other. We aren't going anywhere. We're all going to be here for the rest of our lives together. So, and we it's a relationship you have to nurture.
I'd like to hope that in our afterlife we'll be haunting buildings together.
Oh my gosh, that'd be cool.
That's sweet.
Wouldn't it
Claudia,
be fun?
I want to get to a question from Claudia here because I've actually
Yay,
waited
Claudia.
a long time on this one. Yes, Claudia is my questionnaire guru. And she is asking,
great.
Has anybody from your group ever had family members visit them that have crossed over? Have they showed up on any of your investigations?
No, we even tried investigating my mother at the cemetery once. I was actually a little afraid. I kind of didn't want her to come through because I wanted to hope that she was still in heaven somewhere. And she didn't come through, and I'm like, okay, good. She's not a ghost. She's not stuck, because I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if they're stuck here. We don't know if they're allowed to visit. We don't know the answer to that. So I was really happy that she didn't come through. So that was on my side anyway.
Yeah. Well, and then when my grandmother passed, we investigated her house almost a week later.
Was it really that?
Remember, you guys?
Wow.
It was.
I wasn't there. I think I had just had Riley or something.
Yeah,
you might have.
And it was probably it. I mean, remember, Kimberly? Oh my God, that was like
the doors opening and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
The front door opened. We made the giant mistake, the big no question of if you want us to leave, please bang on something. we learned you should never ask that, because then you actually have to leave. And we got probably the biggest bang I've ever heard in my life. I mean, just huge. And we were like, message received. And we just, we of course
at the end of that night, let's go to Denny's.
No, we were like, okay, well, we said this room, right? So we're like, we met the room. We said the room. So we went into the hallway, but oh my gosh, so many things happened. Now, was that my grandmother? I don't know. I did get an EVP of a male's voice saying, come here, into the hallway. That wasn't my grandmother. So I don't know if we were necessarily visited by her. I would like to think so, or maybe not.
Right.
I don't know.
See, if you it's honestly like think about it, Jen, do you
if I think
want
about
her
it,
to respond?
No, actually, because I don't want her to be stuck there at that house, because we actually sold the house shortly after that. Well, she was very old, so this was all planned. It's not like we were like, bye-bye, Grandma, and, kicked her out. This had been, ongoing dementia for a while. So we had the investigation, and we sold the house. So I do hope that she is not stuck there and is in definitely this other side that we speak of, or heaven, if you will.
And you know that Kirsten has also been working, which I found was really fascinating, and I hope we get to do a little more of this, but she was working with guys, real estate agents, that were dealing with houses where people had recently passed, and she was coming to the conclusion that people hang around until all the affairs are in order, because these people were having a hard time selling houses for that reason. And I was fascinated by that. It's really hard niche to get into, unfortunately. But I was so glad that she did some detective work on that.
Joan
there
has
was
a
a
question.
house. Oh, sorry,
go
go
ahead,
ahead,
please.
Well, I was just going to say, there was a house across the street from the house that I live in right now, and the woman passed away inside the house. And they got it ready to sell, and they had an open house, and I decided to go over there to see if I could feel anything. And I went over there, and I could definitely feel the woman that used to live there. She was still hanging around. She was still there, and then they sold the house. I met the new people that moved in, and I went over into their house. I said, hey, I want to see your house. They didn't know what I did. And I went in, and she was gone. So I think that once their stuff is gone, I think that hopefully most people go with their stuff.
Let's get to Joe's question here.
That's something, if I may, real fast, too.
Yeah, please.
Especially for paranormal investigators that are out there working in residential areas and in homes with families, it's important to ask them, in my opinion, do you really want to know? Do you actually want to hear the voice that's on the other side? Because that adds a whole new perspective to the spirit that you're sharing space with. You now hear his voice. Oh, now you know that there's a man wandering around in your house. Maybe you're living in Grandma's house. Do you honestly want to know if this is Grandma? How would you feel if you heard Grandma's voice? You know, it's just questions to pose to people. It's really emotional. I'm glad we didn't find my mother. I'm so happy. As much as I miss her, I'm and would love to hear her voice again. Because in those EVPs, you can hear the accent, you can hear the age, you can hear the voice that you recognize. So that's something I just wanted to put out there.
Awesome. We're going to get to Joe's question here, and he is asking, I am from Ventura County down there where you are located in SoCal. What's the most haunted place that you have investigated in Ventura County?
La Purísima.
Go, Kimberly. That's your hood.
It is my hood, huh? I'm in Camarillo. Ventura County's got great haunts. A lot of the old what's the tavern? Not Glen
Tavern?
The Glen Tavern in Santa Paula.
Yes.
Is a fabulous place to go. You'll dig that. Again, we like La Purísima. That never seems to let us down either.
And then
the Bella
back,
Maggiore in Ventura. Camarillo, yeah, it's all
Camarillo.
It's so good.
That was a big one. Although you can't get into Camarillo anymore, or
the school is there now. Yeah, the schools occupied all that now, but you can't even go to the Scary Dairy anymore because they've got it all boarded up.
But Glen Tavern Inn, that's a great place. You should go rent a room. Room 307 is the haunted room there. And
is that where we caught an EVP there? Is that the one where the woman says, "Are we ghosts?"
That was close to the one. Yeah. That was close to the one place where we got that. Yeah. And then Jen and I, in our room, I got touched in the middle of the night when we were staying there. I'm going to our friend's wedding there in November.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for Frank and Dawn to get married. Woohoo! So we're going to go stay there and do an investigation after their wedding. So that'd be cool.
I met Kirsten at the Bella Maggiore. She was staying there, and she was friends with a fellow investigator, and that was the first time I met her there. And she was staying there, and we all walked up so she was able to let us into Bella Maggiore on Main Street, I guess it is, in Ventura. Great old hotel, and she was able to unlock the door and let us in and visit with her, and we walked upstairs. And the minute we walked upstairs, the woman goes, "Hello!" And we all were reaching for our equipment because we weren't ready to start. We're like, oh, it was perfect. So Ventura's old. Ventura's got a lot of great haunts. And if Joe finds out anything of any place, let us know.
Yeah.
In California, do they have to legally tell you if a home is haunted?
What I know is that I believe that if it is a violent death or of AIDS, it's you have to disclose that information forever. Like no matter what, you have to disclose. I think you have a 7-year period. If a death has happened within the last 7 years, they have to disclose it. But anything beyond that, they don't have to disclose. So if
they don't have to disclose if it's haunted.
Yeah. So you have to actually research beyond 7 years if there's been a death, which I'm actually going through right now because I just moved and we're getting a lot of activity.
You have
but they have not. There's something here, and we it's been obviously 7 years since anybody has died in the house. So I'm trying to figure out. I have to actually do research. But yeah, like I said, if it's violent or of AIDS, they have to tell you.
Why of AIDS?
I don't know. You know, we were talking about that the other day. I don't know.
Maybe
my
it's like,
mom
that's like
is
an old rule.
a realtor.
Yeah,
she's a realtor, so I'll ask her. But you know what? We were totally just wondering that too. It's those two things: violent or AIDS.
Interesting. See, I know up here you do not have to disclose if a home is haunted, but if someone asks you, you should have an answer. Right, because every house that I have gone into with my realtors, even the one I'm living in, is the place haunted? And they're like, no. Great. No, but I will ask. Would that cause a problem in the sale? No. You know, but it's just one of those things, because you had mentioned that one of you had mentioned that realtors have called you before after something has happened.
Yeah, Kirsten. Yeah, so Kirsten was talking with some of them.
Is that something that is normal, where if you have a residence that goes up for sale, that maybe a realtor down there would call up a member of your team to say, hey, do you mind come investigating this place just to make sure, so it makes it easier for sale?
I think first time it happened to us, I think.
Yeah.
I
think it depends
seem
on the
to happen
realtor.
very often.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often, but I think that's because they don't think to call anybody. They just go, ooh, this house is creepy, I bet it's haunted. Or maybe they've heard rumors. But it seems that they never ask for help. Or, you know, and like I said, my mother's a realtor, so that's just what I've seen, is that they don't really care to go that far.
I want to get to a couple questions from our audience here in the Space Out Radio chat room on Spreaker. Shar is asking, what happened to the ghost that asked if she was a ghost?
Right. Okay. Yeah. That was probably the most interesting EVP that I have ever heard, because you know usually what I seem to get are no's, you know, just a very quick like yes, no. They'll say a word like, or we've heard their name, like I got an EVP Elizabeth, where she said her name, or you know things. We never get like, it's very rare that you actually get like a sentence, let alone a sentence where a spirit might be asking if they're a spirit. And and it was a whole sentence. And at the time, it was Erin and I in the room at Glen Tavern in that hotel we were just talking about. And it's a girl, and she says, there is a male voice that says, I miss you. And then a while later, a girl starts to talk, and she goes, are we ghosts? And she asked this question. And I mean, that was just, it was crazy to hear that, because I was thinking, oh my gosh, like, you know, that sounds intelligent. Like this person's actually asking questions. It's not just a residual, you know, or, you know, it seems like it's intelligent. It's actually wondering about their whereabouts. You know, have they crossed to the other side? You know,
yeah, and it actually, that EVP actually proved to me something that I had thought, I had been thinking all along, that there's different reasons why the spirits are here and they stay here. I feel that they're either, they die. When they die, they don't know that they've died. Like they don't realize that they're dead. Or they don't want to move on to where, they're scared to move on to wherever they want to go to, or they just want to stick around. So this girl really, I feel, didn't know that she had died, and it was so heartbreaking almost when we heard it.
Sad. And did you guys hear that when you were, because I wasn't there, did you hear that when you were back at home? Or did you hear it?
It was, oh yeah, that's when I listened back. And
yeah, we didn't hear it audibly. We heard it through the recorder.
Right, and it wasn't through real time. And that's what stinks too, because real time is, it's hard to do EVPs real time, because you can also hear your pants moving. You can hear the hairs on your arm standing up. So real time audio is really hard to do. And you don't know until you've gotten home that you caught this great conversation that you want to be a part of. It's too late.
Right.
what was crazy is that there was that EVP beforehand where there was that guy saying, "I miss you," and then she says, "Are we ghosts?" And I'm wondering, were they together? Like she's saying the word "we." So who's she with?
Right.
So a lot of that was probably the most interesting one that I've ever gotten.
That's Kirsten amazing. Was at my house one time because I live on I live in a very haunted area, and she was at my house because I was having ghost issues, and we had a recorder going, and we were on my computer looking at pictures that her husband had actually taken on Flickr, and this big gecko face popped up on my computer screen that he had taken, and I said, that's a great picture. And then when I went over my audio, a man's voice goes, "Picture." So he was obviously watching what we were doing, and I'm like, oh, had I known you were communicating with us at the time, we would have had a great talk.
Yeah.
I want to get in a couple more questions here as we only got about 8 minutes left. This show has flown by. I will say that.
Yes.
Spear is asking in the Spaced Out Radio chat room on Spreaker, how do you feel about research groups that base their work philosophy in Christianity? So, for example, they investigate, they say anything that's dark is a demon, and then they want you to pray for them.
Oh, it's exhausting.
I say that's great. I don't believe that. But
it just depends on what religion you come from.
Yeah.
It's not cut and dry. It's not black and white.
No.
Yeah.
And, I have had people say to me, you're dealing with the devil, and I don't think that I am.
Too.
But everybody has the right to their own opinion. So, that's if that's what their team wants to be, then you go and do that.
I had a guy take me on a date just so he could tell me to stop hunting demons.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear that story?
Geez.
Nice.
No, that's pretty
great.
Great.
It was a long time ago. He took me on a date, and we were eating, and everything went fine. He goes, "So, I saw that you are into, paranormal investigating. So I just want to, pray for you and tell you that you need to stop doing that. That's, you're hunting demons." And so the date ended.
Yeah. We all have friends like that.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Could have been a good date.
Yeah.
Take him as you get him.
It could have been. No, he was so nice. I know. Before that, before he told me I was
good
a
Christian
demon hunter.
Oh, demon hunter. That's what we are.
Ladies, I got a question from Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal, and he is asking.
Awesome.
He is asking, have any of you ever tried a spirit box?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Again, it's one of those great tools that if you can get something else to also agree with that, in threes or even in twos if we can.
Or validate what you guys are feeling or thinking.
Right. Yeah. It's a good tool.
Yeah, we've used it before, and and sometimes it's worked and sometimes it hasn't.
Yeah, and sometimes you go, oh, this is malarkey. And then you're like, holy crap, they just said happy birthday and today's my birthday. You know, it's interesting. They're fun. I'm glad that there are people out there that are trying to create this equipment that it might bring some of us to the next level somehow. You never know. So we're willing to try, anything that we can possibly get our hands on.
And I think people
it's worth a try.
Yeah, people continue to make these tools and try to come up with a way to connect on a different level. I think it's great.
Right.
Let's try every way we can.
Yeah, and if it passes our rule of 2 pieces or 3 pieces of evidence that kind of coincide, then great. That's a great tool that we can use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good question. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw a caveat into that question because a lot of people who use the spirit box or the ghost box, whatever you want to call it, Frank's box, they refuse to use a Ouija board. Yet isn't it the same thing?
No.
I mean, they make them for little girls now, so, in pink and with a carrying case so they can take to their friends' houses for sleepovers.
Really? Do they really?
Yes, it's at Toys R Us. Yeah.
Oh.
No way.
Yeah, oh no,
I don't mind them. I know there's
I don't
people
like 'em.
that are against them. I don't mind them.
I don't
like
played with them
them
since I was a kid. So
I don't like them. And the reason why I don't like them is just because they work. And they work
and the
really
spirit
well.
has to work through you, too.
Yes, and the spirit works through
spirit is working
you
through
to
you.
get to the box
Yeah.
because you have to put your finger on
Right.
the planchette. The spirit
Right.
box, the spirit works through the radio waves and the energy that's produced with the spirit box, not through a person. And so I have the problem with the going through me when I don't want them to go through me.
I can understand that, but I still think it's funny that a lot of people will use one, but ostracize the other one. I think that's
taboo.
very interesting. See, I like to dowse. I use a pendulum.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's great.
I feel comfortable with that. It seems to work for me. And it's funny because Eric Markham, I love telling this story because I can never get the image out of my mind of seeing him. He's my news director for the SOR Spacewire. And he had his pendulum and I had my pendulum. And he's in North Carolina. I'm here in British Columbia. And we were on Skype camera and he basically said, I'm not sure if mine is working. I'm just not convinced of it. And his was moving, so I said to my guide who I speak with, his name is Jordan, I said, Jordan, can you make Eric's pendulum stop right now, please? And be damned if his pendulum didn't stop.
That's cool.
And the look on Eric's face when his eyes grew. You remember the old cartoons when, the cartoons, it was always a wolf when it saw like a real sexy
and
female
the eyes
cartoon
bugged
come in,
out.
and the eyes just like
Yeah.
bulge
How
right out.
old
And,
is she?
exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what his eyes did. And I still have a good laugh at that every time. And, I think once a week we bring that up in conversation. And he's typing right now in the Spaced Out Radio chat room. He's like, I almost crapped myself when that happened.
We've had moments like that. You've had moments where you'd be surprised if you could lose your,
Can I just real quick let everybody know we do have a website that has a lot of investigations and a lot of our evidence on it. And we also have Facebook. So if you guys want to follow us, go ahead. We post what we can. Sometimes we can't post things, but we post whatever we can. And we post about our investigations that we're able to. So everybody can follow us, paranormalhousewives.com. And I think Jen's Glen Tavern EVP is on the website. Is it, Jen?
I believe so. I'll try to, if not, I'll try to put it back on or something. And then we have our Facebook page, so like us on Facebook. That'd be awesome. Like us on Facebook. I'll look for that EVP. It's so good, you guys.
It's a great
You'd be very excited to hear it. Yeah. So I will look for that. It's in our Glen Tavern investigation, so look for that.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you ladies for being on Spaced Out Radio tonight. We're going to launch Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL here on the Spaced Out Radio side, because that means we only got a couple minutes left. So, I had a fun time tonight.
Yeah, this was awesome.
So did I.
Thank you.
Yeah. What a great experience. I stayed up an hour past my bedtime for you because it was so fun.
Well, I feel honored and privileged. I totally feel honored and privileged.
This was so much fun.
Here.
Exactly. And, I think it's interesting, and if you haven't heard the full podcast about this, it would be very, very cool for you guys to go listen in on iTunes, because we're there now. Yeah! I'm excited about that. Yeah. That was a big step for us. Big step. We're slowly but surely trying to take over the world.
You've made it into the big time.
You made it when? You know you made it when you're on iTunes, finally.
iTunes.
Just
Spaced
remember the
Out
little
Radio,
guys.
that's
Just
all you got to
remember the
type
little
in.
guys.
Spaced Out Radio. It's all good. Ladies, Erin, Kimberly, and Jennifer, I'm going to get you ladies to hold on here for just a couple of minutes while I close out this show. I want to say thank you to everyone listening in on the Revolution Radio chat room. Whether you are on the Spaced Out Radio chat room on Spreaker or in the SOR Space Travelers Club on Facebook, good to have you all with us. It's always a pleasure to have all of you taking it in. Remember, if you're a listener of Revolution Radio, it is a donation station financed by you, the lovely and valued listener. Your ears do it all. Do us a favor, donate today, so we will absolutely get this thing going. Reminder, you can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. On Instagram, we can be followed at Dave Scott SOR. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show, and our website is spacedoutradio.com. Thank you to our Aussie friends listening in, all of you around the world, especially those in North America. You know who you are. Much love to all of you. Tomorrow night on the show, paranormal author Sheila Renee Parker. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time at the mighty spacedoutradio.com. Thank you so much for being with us. We will talk to you in exactly 21 hours from now. On that note, go to bed. It's late, man. What the hell are you staying up for? Let's get this thing going. See you later. Have a good one. Good night.